and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name is Sean Bell. I am joined by James Farley.
Hello.
Matthew Murray.
Hello.
And special guest. You haven't heard of him. He's nobody, really. David Turners.
Very rude. Don't treat
it's good. Yeah.
I wouldn't treat guests like that. Hello, everybody. How are you doing?
Hello, David.
You all right?
I'm good. How are you? You getting plenty of sleep, are you, Dave?
Fuck off, Sean.
Do you know, I before I became a dad, I said that to so many people, and they definitely all wanted me to die.
Yep. No, it's not been too bad. We've been ploughing through it. We've just got 4 more years to go before I start to like the kid. So we're getting there.
Cool. Right, housekeeping.
I'll start by saying this is going.
Okay.
The moment I come back, listeners, this bit's going.
No, David.
Housekeeping at the start of it. This
hate
is
it.
going at the moment I return.
But we've actually got important stuff to talk about,
That's
David.
great, Sean, but it's going when I come
largely
back.
why you're here.
But how do we talk about the important stuff get at the end when no one listens?
You do that at the end.
But no one
It's not
listens at
the
the end.
important stuff. It just puts the brakes on the podcast big time.
Listen,
it's like, hey,
Dave,
we're back. Yeah, TCGS. We'll be streaming 3 days a week.
When we
this
start
week.
cutting you into the Twitch money again, you'll see the value of it. All right.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Putting
it gone
stuff
sky
like
high,
has
Sean?
made big difference.
Wait,
Two big bits of news. I'll do them in ascending order. The first one being that we are definitely officially doing a live show at EGX this year on Saturday, the 19th of October. We'll be on at about 3 p.m. We decided to go a bit earlier this year.
clashing with the football. I'll say
Are
that. Yeah, I'm going to be sweating up on stage. I'll say that.
But yeah, I mean, as far as I'm aware, we will all be there. James.
Yeah,
it's
I
if you check
remember.
your
Where you plan to
calendar.
go, James, this year? Have you got
I've put it in the calendar. It's definitely going to happen this time.
Okay,
Cool.
that
Good.
does not
Yeah,
sound
like
like a
calendar
foolproof
saying
plan.
book emergency holiday, then pretend.
Look, put it this way: I'm not booking the Airbnb until you've paid up front.
Yeah, definitely. You can, but just book for free. It's fine. James will be busy.
So yeah, as usual, you don't need like a special ticket to see us because we would not get away with that. You just need to come to the show. Obviously, if you have just a regular EGX ticket, it's at XL this year.
Yeah, down in London.
It's no longer. In
Do you know
Birmingham.
what? I'm really happy with that because,
Yeah.
when you're at work and stuff and they're saying, what are you doing the weekend? Oh, I'm doing a live show from my podcast. Oh, yeah, where are you doing that? Earls Court. Like, it just sounds great, doesn't it? Like, it was, not many people know the Tobacco Docks, and it's a really lovely venue and everything. I'm not putting it down. But it's like, where are you doing this live show? Oh, it's a place called the Tobacco Docks in Wapping. Oh, no, I've never heard of it or whatever. But then when it was like, oh, I'm doing a live show in Birmingham, whereabouts? The NEC? It's just have you heard of the NEC? Like, Earls Court is just like, it's gonna be brilliant. I can't wait until the day before that weekend.
It's going to be interesting to see how different it is in London. But I'm excited.
Yeah, because it's the first time it's been at XL. I gather it's sort of in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, I said Earls Court several times there, didn't I?
Yeah,
Oh, bollocks.
I assumed
I
Yeah,
assumed that was
good.
intentional, but
Fuck.
He's on the ball.
Actually, yeah, because we've never done a live show at Earls Court, have we? It's always been.
Well,
Yeah, one of
it
those.
was live. It was just in the corner of Earls Court,
Stealing their
surrounded
electricity.
by security.
But it was definitely live-ish. It was recorded live.
Recorded live.
We recorded it. Sure.
But yeah, the other thing that is quite a big deal, we have finally, due to pressure from the fans and also the fact that the rates are changing very soon, we've launched our first Patreon. I don't know why I said first. As if there's going to be a series of
Many Patreons.
First of many Patreons. So yeah, if you head to patreon.com/TCGS, you can give us
money.
if you want.
You can sign up.
But it's fine because we're actually going to give stuff in return. We talked about this for a long time, haven't we? But whether or not we were comfortable with it and
We have indeed.
what we would want to offer if we were going to start asking for money. And basically we've got a whole series of tiers. The first one being $2 a month, which is just basically to show us a bit of support, and that'll give you access to like a Patreon only Discord.
What's the tier name? What's the tier name, Sean?
The tier name is In the Beginning.
That's right.
And obviously you'll get access to our Patreon feed as well. I don't really know what we're going to do with that. Is that just going to be like really sort of boring shop talk, or is that going to be?
I don't know. I had a vision in my head. Look, it's safe to say that this is an initial sort of setup, and it will evolve like through time. What we want to do with it and stuff like that. I had a vision in my head that it would be more like sort of subjects that people like our patrons want us to talk about that doesn't really fit in with the computer game show. So maybe sending in questions like relating to different things that we wouldn't usually talk about here, and or something like that. I don't know, but it's the idea of, look, we want to give something back for people that are signing up to this, and so that's sort of like the initial spark, but this thing will evolve through time, and we will need your feedback as well, because we want to hear what you want out of it too. So it's very much still in its early stages. Everything laid out there we will do. It's just I can see this evolving as and when we get feedback on what people want.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of the Patreon feed itself on the website, I'm sure that's just when we'll put stuff out to the community. See what we want to do. We can put votes and stuff up there.
That's true. Yeah.
Well, we're new to this. We're trying to work out how it's going to work. But as Dave says, it's going to evolve. But yeah.
What's the next
tier? That's the first tier.
So the next one, $5 or more a month, the Be Natural tier. Where once a month you will get a Patreon exclusive podcast, which, as we say, will be sort of driven by. I mean, we've got ideas, but also we want to hear what things that people would want to hear from that. Which, as you say, might be less video gamey stuff. I don't know. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes.
It might be more video gamey stuff.
Extremely video gamey.
The next tier is $10 or more a month, the Smashing It tier, which is basically once a month. We're going to start doing, whenever there's been like a Nintendo Direct or one of the Sony ones at like a decent hour, we've done like a live stream where we talk over it. We've had the wholly original idea of going back and doing old conferences and doing a bit of a retrospective on them. So we've already recorded one of those. It's the Xbox One reveal from 2013, which was, it's fascinating how dull that was, to be honest, wasn't it? It was really interesting to go back.
It was.
You're sorry?
You're not selling it.
No. Obviously, our video is fucking brilliant, but the conference itself was fascinating. How dry it was, in hindsight.
It's just very, very different to how you would imagine that sort of thing would happen today. It felt really, really old, even though it's just 6 years old. But I think it's particularly sort of pertinent given where we are in the current console cycle and Microsoft, pushing for next gen. So it's really interesting, I thought. If you're back at a $10 tier, you can watch that now. You can watch that straight away. It's already live on our Patreon. So if you're back at that $10 and above tier, you can watch that today.
Yep. There were some technical issues with it, but half the point of all this is that it will allow us to buy some more kit and start being a little bit more professional.
Also, in terms of technical troubles, we didn't do a practice run. We knew technically what we needed to do. And then we're basically all record our stuff separately. Sean's done an amazing job on the edit, incredible. Considering it's our first time, and we're all sort of running with ghetto equipment stitched together with bits of tape and stuff. I think you've done an amazing job, Sean, and I'm amazed that it worked so well for the first one. But it's only going to get better. And we want your suggestions for other things we can watch and react to. We've also got a big list ourselves in terms of sort of classic E3 moments and console announcements. But
James doesn't want us to do the Konami one because apparently it's overdone.
Well, it's that, but it's really, really long. I mean, it's really, really long. But everyone's done it. Yeah. But it is genuinely very, very funny. It's one of it is definitely still one of the funniest ones. But Sean did an amazing job, and the technical issues were not my fault. I just want to make that clear at this point.
I mean, it was a. basically, for those who haven't seen it yet, which is obviously all of you, there's a bit where James has a bit of a, I was going to say breakdown. I mean, it's a laughing fit, isn't it?
It was a
and
hand
then
gesture.
mysteriously,
I couldn't stop laughing.
Mysteriously, your recording stops. I think you just absentmindedly hit a button
absolutely.
on your keyboard.
That's totally
right.
possible. You just got to
hit the
watch the
keyboard.
video and you could see that's exactly what happens.
But
It was a hand gesture, which was ridiculous. It's just...
That's it, James. Did you telling me you didn't purposely turn it off?
What do you mean?
Like, just admit it now. You didn't purposely cancel
I
that
didn't do it on
recording
purpose.
when you
No,
were...
I mean that.
I don't believe you, because I know that you get freaked out
possibility.
about people like you might knock yourself out through coughing or whatever, and you get freaked out that people might see that. I've got a feeling you thought it was coming, and then you switched it off. Just be honest.
No. It was absolutely not that. I swear.
Oh, I don't believe you.
Come on, Dave. I do all this streaming every weekend.
James, I don't believe you.
Well, I don't care.
It was a bit weird that it cut out exactly the moment you were out.
Exactly.
You were dying of laughter.
I don't believe him. I don't believe him. Go on.
Fine. Believe what you want to believe. I don't care.
Ooh, it sounds like you do.
So you really care.
The final tier, $40 or more per month. I mean, if anyone does more than that, I'll be absolutely gobsmacked. But the Living It tier, where basically you'll be announced and credited as a producer of the show. And you will have your name read out, and your name will be included in the podcast show notes and YouTube video descriptions, etc.
Yeah, and obviously all that you get a previous tiers and stuff, so on and so forth. So obviously, if you get for the top one, you'll obviously get the TCGS Talks Over series. You'll get like the exclusive podcasts, the other stuff we mentioned.
No, I'm going to say it right. There was one argument about this whole Patreon thing, and it was over this top tier, and. I was adamant that I wanted this top tier to be called the Major Nelson, and Matt just flat out said no, and it's bugged me ever since, Matt, to be honest with you. I think it is the best name for a top tier in anything.
It doesn't make sense, though. It doesn't link.
It doesn't make sense, and we would definitely get bollocked.
It would have
for
made
doing
Someone
it.
said you can't use my namesake for your
Who's gonna
Patreon.
bollock us?
Listen, right. It would
Major
have made
Nelson.
sense.
It's not his name, Sean.
Exactly, it's a character that he created.
Sorry, James,
it's an
what were you gonna say?
original,
But you
it's
see,
an
it would have made
original
sense
creative work,
if
and we
you'd have
can't
followed-
just steal it.
I was going to say, right, it would have made sense if you'd have followed through with the other ones as well, because we were going to call the first tier like the Don Matric.
Right, okay.
stuff like that.
Isn't it funny that it's just
Again, I didn't
completely
think that
different
worked
as
either,
well?
James.
I didn't think it was funny that it was just that random as well. Just like everything else was like in the beginning, and the top one's the Major Nelson. I just had visions of someone saying, "Did you sign up for the TCGS Patreon?" Yeah, I did. What tier did you go for? Well, I went full Nels. I went pure Nels. Like, I'm a Nels bum. I went Major Nels. What did you go for? Oh, in the beginning. I'll leave off, mate. Go full Nels. Just go full Nels. Like, and I was saying that to myself all day and belly laughing. Matt was like, "Oh, I'm worried about getting sued." We'll just change it if they threaten legal action, which they wouldn't.
Also,
God.
I'm pretty certain
So
that he doesn't
gutted.
own copyright on that name. Because it's ripped
bet
off
he
from
does.
something
I
else.
bet he
No,
does.
it's ripped off.
James.
It's ripped off from something
He
else.
guarantee he's got a trademark nailed down.
I'm
no
sure
way.
on that one.
It's ripped off from My Dream with Genie or whatever. It's nicked.
Well, I don't know anything about your
accusations
anime
flying
stuff,
all
but
over the
I'm
place
sure
tonight.
he's got the trademark. I guarantee it.
No way.
So just listen, if you are signing up for the top tier, which I highly recommend because you'll get your name read out. If I don't, sorry, Matt's put a lot of effort in, and I'm not taking the piss out of you. Thanks, Matt. But like, if you do sign up for that top tier, just call it the Major Nelson. Tell everyone that you signed up for the Major Nelson. You went full
And then they're like,
Nelson.
"Oh, brilliant! What Xbox podcast have you signed up on Patreon?" Like, it's
Don't
not
worry
Xbox
about it,
related.
mate. Don't worry about it.
Why is it
I'm
Major
full
Nelson then? Oh, don't know. Actually,
I've
there's
got a
literally no
massive
reason.
Nelson
It's like
over
it
it.
just is.
It's like when Bully came out and they had to rename it to Carnis Carnum Edit, and everyone was like, "Yeah, you mean Bully, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
do that."
That's exactly. Sean's with me. Sean's with me. All right, go on.
So the other thing is we've got 2 stretch goals, which I mean, we'll see how we go.
They're the best
they're a
stretch
bit-
goals of all time.
They are very good. So if and that if is doing a lot of work. If we get to $600 a month. James and David are going to record a series of podcasts called.
Can I just say, everyone's been talking to us about a follow up to Dark Calls. You know, we've never entertained the idea, have we, James? Really?
No.
You know, people were going, "Oh, I'll do Dark Souls 2 now, James," and James was like, "No." David should do Bloodborne. No, and then I just thought, well, the only thing that kind of feels on a similar sort of level is if I sat and watched every single Star Wars film and called James after every Star Wars film.
And before, yeah,
I've got a feeling that we might disagree about a few things on them. But so we're calling it Star Calls. And if we hit that stretch goal, then we will do that. I
am so excited about that. I really hope we do.
I mean, this is it. I mean, I'm not against Star Wars. I'm quite looking forward to watching the films. I haven't not watched them out of bitterness. So I've just, it's just never really happened. So I'm sure I'll like them, but I know that there'll be certain aspects of Star Wars that I will be absolutely furious with or whatever. And James is it's James's favourite thing. How many films are there now? Like proper films?
The thing is, I mean, because we've also had this discussion about what sort of order we're going to do this in as well. Like,
you've got
to
do
release order.
Release order. We're
going
to. I bow to pressure, and we're going to do release order because that makes more sense, apparently.
Yes,
it makes absolute sense
because it does. Because that's the.
Oh, well, you don't want to put him off from the beginning, do you? Really, I guess.
There's that as well. Yeah.
So
you see, that's also what I'm interested in, right? Because I don't think Dave will see that sort of. That everyone hates the prequels, everyone knows that.
Yeah.
But actually, like a lot of people who just watch it now with no baggage whatsoever are just like, yeah, the Jar Jar Binks is quite annoying, but other than that, what's the problem?
It's kids that say that. It's kids that grew up with it. Seriously, because I know kids like that, or people that are now grown-ups that grew up with it.
Met a kid. Sean, I know of a kid.
So yeah, I'm like, I mean, it's going to be funny anyway, but I'm genuinely fascinated because I think there'll be bits of it that Dave's actually positive about that will surprise people, but we'll see.
Okay.
The other one is if we reach $700 a month, I am going to do monthly cooking stream called Bell's Kitchen. In which I'm basically, I mean, I don't know how professional I'm going to be able to make this, but obviously that $700 a month will help because I'm going to need to buy some kit in order to do this. That's the thing. So basically, it's going to be me in my kitchen making dinner, and then sort of taking you through the recipe, and people can suggest stuff they want me to make, or it'll just be me making some of my favorite stuff. I have considered if once I've made it, do I then bring the laptop through and sit it on the dinner table, and then we sit and eat dinner together?
Oh my god! No, but those things are massive on YouTube, aren't they? We're watching people eat dinners and stuff.
Yeah, but they really? But is that is that like an ASMR thing or?
I don't know. I'm sure there's people where I've seen videos where people have basically a massive plate of food and they're eating and. I guess
that
trying different stuff.
That's a mukbang thing. Yeah, that's ASMR related, I think. But maybe that's the direction I should go in with it. Let's just do an hour of cooking.
Could I just say as well?
Yeah.
Credit to Matt for coming up with the title on that one because Sean, what was
he didn't.
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
Did you, Matt? I don't think so.
No, I don't think I did.
Bell's Kitchen.
Well. Yeah, no, I don't think I don't remember. I don't think I did because I know Sean had one suggestion anyway, and then we're like, "How about this other one?"
Because I said, basically the plan was because I've been thinking about doing this for years. It was either going to be called Bell's Kitchen or it was going to be called Sean Bell Beat a Cook.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
because I thought what had happened is that I'd put. I thought I had an amazing name for it, the Dinner Bell, which I stand by is all right. But
that's good.
I put that down and thought, no one's going to beat that. And then I looked at my phone and it said Bell's Kitchen, and I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. Absolutely trumped.
Yeah. So that should be interesting one way or the other. If we get to $700 a month, that would be amazing. I'd be absolutely over the moon with that. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Basically.
I mean, as we record, this page is coming live, but by the time you hear this, we would have announced it on Tuesday.
Yep.
So yeah. I mean, as I just said, this is, we're seeing what works. We're obviously going to adapt as we get feedback and see what people want and maybe don't want. So, come on this journey together, and we'll try and make it the best thing that this thing could possibly be.
And those of you wondering why I'm on the show this week, I'm skint, so so I want in.
Yeah. Dave is very much in before we start getting like emails saying, well, actually, how does that work? Because people will.
Yep, totally.
Yeah. So, I mean, you might hear from time to time. I might hear from me from time to time. Just meeting my minimum contract.
Yeah. There's no contract in. Minimum of 15 hours a week, public appearances. 24 tweets a day. That's it now.
Yeah. So if you're into Patreon or whatever, or you want to help support the show, then we'd really appreciate it. We'll do everything we can to make sure that it's worthwhile for you guys. And that might need some feedback here and there, but there you go. It's all set up.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Obviously, if you don't want to give us any cash, but you do want to help us out, the whole Twitch Prime deal is always, really appreciated. If you've got an Amazon Prime account, you also have Twitch Prime, which means you can link your account with your Amazon account on Twitch, and then you can give away one free sub every month. And a lot of people do that for us on Twitch, and it is much appreciated. Like, it's, we're talking about like the Patreon enabling us to buy better gear and stuff. Like, the Twitch stuff has already helped a lot, so we do really appreciate that. Yeah. This week, normally, when we record this or when it goes out, I've already done my stream, but I'm actually delaying mine until Wednesday this week. So if you're listening to this on the day it comes out, I'm streaming tonight at 9:00. I've got a very, very weird game lined up that I'm really excited about playing. And then, on Thursday, FIFA, it's not FIFA yet.
What the fuck is going on with that? Go on.
I was in CEX the other day. Do you know? FIFA 17 is literally £1. I cannot believe. Obviously, previous weeks I've been talking about this bundle you can get on the PSN store where it's FIFA 17 to 19 and it's like 90 quid. And everyone's like, why wouldn't you just buy them second hand? I was like, that's a really good idea actually. On Thursday, there is a PlayStation State of Play thing on. That starts at 11 p.m, but what we're going to do is we're going to hop on a bit early and do a quick Patreon Q&A just to get any feedback or answer any questions you might have. And then we will talk over the State of Play thing.
I'm assuming that's not just for Patreon people. That's
for anyone.
I mean, we want to do I thought it'd be good to do a stream over the next few days just to answer any questions if people have got any questions, any feedback, whatever. And on Thursdays, us hopefully we're all going to be there doing a State of Play talk over. Yeah, so from 10:30, we'll just be on for half an hour. If you've got any questions or anything you want to raise, we'll be able to talk about it. And then from 11 o'clock, we'll be talking over PlayStation's State of Play, in which they've said they're going to talk about Medieval, and they're going to reveal details about a game that they haven't shown before. So interesting to see how it might have changed compared to the first one.
Yeah, given that the first one was so VR heavy, that was, fine by us, but bit weird for a lot of people. So it's going to be interesting. What else we got? Friday, James is streaming Deadly Premonition at 9 p.m.
Are you going to finish it on Friday, James? How close are you to the end now?
He's having such a good time doing it. I think he's just going to drag it out.
I can't stand that game. And at the end of last week, I thought I was going to finish it last Friday, and I didn't. And it just never ends, that game. It just keeps on introducing new things constantly, and I'm hoping it's going to end. Are you
close to finding out who the killer is at all?
Well, I found, one of them, but then it's like, oh no, there's someone else. And it's just like, it just keeps doing that all the time. It's, it's
brilliant.
I'll talk about it in what you've been playing, because it's really did my head in this week.
Cool. And then on Sunday, Matt will be streaming Bloodborne at 8:30, and you've just done Mikolash, haven't you?
Yeah, I had a terrible stream on Sunday, but it took me 2 hours to do it, even though I should have done it within the first 5 minutes.
I've seen the clip that's... who was it who clipped it? The bit where you get killed and you're just completely despondent. thought that was funny.
Yeah, that happened a lot.
I know you're in a bad place.
The thing is, the week before, I was like, I had him on the ropes. I was like, okay, brilliant. Well, I got to this boss. I'm going to get it done pretty quickly. And I knew what I had to do, but I just sucked for ages. Anyway, I'm so glad I got it done before the end. So now next week I can concentrate on something else. Cool. I hadn't looked into the bosses, but people were saying something like NVM or M. Does that ring a bell?
No.
Okay, well, anyway, I may have the acronym mixed up, but people were saying that the next boss is a banger. But I'm so glad I've got him done. So glad.
Yeah. Cool. Right, feedback then.
Yeah, let's go on to feedback. So last week we talked about Epic and Crunch, and obviously that's a big talking point currently in the industry. Sean Thomas has a really interesting email about his perspectives. Thought the conversation around Epic, Crunch, and Insane Hours was very interesting. I did a creative branding agency with 150 plus people, and I've seen this topic be constantly discussed now for 20 years in my not too dissimilar industry, so I thought I'd share my learning. When I began in design around 2001, I worked every hour God sent, 5 to 6 day weeks, 9 a.m. till 10 p.m, some all-nighters, a few sleeps beneath my desk, and some of that was because of things physically took a lot longer. Computers weren't widespread and artwork and printing was laborious. Some of it was financial, poor starting wages, so you work late to get the free takeaway or taxi home. But a lot of it was just because it was fun. We had a blast, and as 20-somethings we had nothing better to do. Also, when you work in the creative industries, you realise a lot of people are their own worst enemies. Perfectionists who don't know when to stop or put their art down. Over the years, you start to gain perspective that sleep is actually important, that you're better off making bolder decisions earlier rather than exploring a dozen options. You realise your experience is valuable and that there is life outside of work and that inspiration comes not from being at your desk. And most importantly, that the best way to create something for the general public is to occasionally hang out with them. I'm proud to say that barring the odd emergency or rare pitch, my agency tends to be done and dusted by 6 p.m, while operating flexible hours and never opening on weekends. We've also become culturally healthier and more profitable. What we do should be fun after all, and it shows in our output. But I fear we're an anomaly from talking to friends, especially those in the advertising space, hence the huge shift to freelancing where you control your time. I similarly suspect in gaming, that's why you see so many indie developers now. I think a huge part of the crunch issues comes down to creatives' mentality. We're not good at charging for our time very well or having much business sense. We tend to always over-deliver at a cheap price, and if we don't know someone out there who'll do it for free to add to their portfolio, thinking the next job will be the one that pays. We ultimately don't get the long-term rewards for the work we do. I can imagine this issue being exacerbated further in tech agencies. Now a release date is just the beginning. I suspect, and as with the environment and politics, our best hope lies with the next generation of leaders. Agencies like mine have had to change hugely to do what we've done, and we've brought in mental health support, taken in equity in brands to give staff bonuses, and declined a huge amount of work that has made us unhappy or unwell. But some of our younger, modern-day competitors are going further, setting up 4-day contracted weeks as standard. They go to the gym as a team at lunch, they work on flexible workspace, near the client. These people haven't grown up in an era where I have, where you're perceived to only be working hard if you're at your desks well into the night. There will always be creatives who worry about where the next buck is coming from and who see those at their desk in the twilight hours as the stars. But the really talented designers are voting with their feet and not putting up with it. We've changed as a business because as both a management team and parents, we've all wanted to. But if we hadn't, we simply wouldn't have kept our better staff. Gaming seems to take these issues and hugely compound them, but the change in the design industry in the last 5 years shows it doesn't have to be that way. Keep up the good work. And that is from Sean Thomas. I thought that was really interesting. I mean, I've worked in marketing agencies for the last 10 years or so, and I see that. I have seen that loads, and I've been there myself. I've done like stupid hours, worked weekends, done all stuff, and I think the whole perfectionist thing is definitely a part of that. I mean, so many people I know just aren't willing to put out a less than great product if they can, and it goes through so much of it is about like their own design skills and what they're able to accomplish. They don't want to put out a less than fantastic product, and so
But don't they understand, or should they not understand the damage that they're doing by doing that? I've seen a lot of people tweeting, hey, if people want to work those hours and they enjoy their job that much, then that's all good. No, it's not all good, because not everyone can do that, and you're creating an atmosphere where they're not going to be welcome at work, where they're going to be seen as underperforming by not putting in the same amount of time, and you don't know their personal status, their mental health. You don't know by normalising that and saying that's okay. Oh, they just don't want to put out a not perfect product. They're creating an atmosphere where people that don't work ridiculous hours are seen as a hindrance or not as good as their job, and that's bollocks. You should never. The reason why you're putting out an imperfect product is not because you've not put enough effort in, is because of mismanagement or someone trying to exploit you. That's it. They're the two reasons. That is it. right?
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people sort of saying, but I really enjoy my job. That's not good enough because you're part of the problem. Like, if you're doing that, if you're putting in those hours as part of the fucking problem, that is it. I can't see any excuse for people to be working those sort of hours ever. In fact, it should be illegal.
I'm also suspicious of these things. You know, like when it's all that, like, oh, you know, we've got like these, you know, stuff. You know, like it says here about, you know, like going to the gym as a team and all that kind of thing. That makes me feel uncomfortable as well, to be honest, because I just feel
why?
Because it's
just because
like,
you wouldn't want to do it, or
because it's just that sort of enforcing this sort of idea of like, you know, you're part of the company, you've got to like participate in these events, and if you don't, you're not part of that. Do you see what I mean? It's kind of, I don't know.
I guess the point is that everyone actually gets a physical and mental health benefit from it.
That's fine if they want to do it, but it's like, you know, I don't think you should feel pressured to having to do that. You know,
but he's not saying they are pressured in this case. I don't think it would be. I mean,
yeah, that's a case by case, isn't it? That's something different. I mean, I understand wanting to get morale up and you know, making people feel part of a team rather than, you know, that sort of thing. I get. What I don't get is people is those sort of work hours ever, and any excuse for it. I mean, I've pulled late shifts. I've worked till 11 once or twice to get a project out. But that is a fucking rarity. You know, that's an absolute rarity. That is not something that happens on a regular basis. And so I understand that constraints of jobs, and, you know, I'm not including certain jobs here where, you know, you find yourself like the ambulance service and all that sort of stuff where you find yourself working late for different reasons. But reading some of the response to this, I'll never understand. I will never wrap my head around it.
I mean,
it's just interesting. Like, obviously,
sorry.
I was just going to say, like, so like the creative industry, creative and advertising industry is learning this, and things are changing. Where, like, what's it going to take for video games to catch up? And I know, like, not all devs are bad. Like, a lot of teams are like run pretty well, but it just feels like every week we're seeing stories about like games turning out, you know, games that like 500 people worked on turning out shit, and everyone's had a horrible time working on it, and then people are getting laid off, and it's just like an absolute, it's just misery.
Well, it's exactly what Giant Bomb said this week. They said, do you know what makes us feel a little bit bad is that we heap so much praise on Fortnite for constantly churning out new content and keeping their game alive, and this is the result of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's how they were able to do that.
It needs unionisation is what it needs. This is the only way.
Yeah, you mentioned this last week.
This is the only way you can fix this kind of thing, really. I mean, because the thing is, right, is you're going to get companies that will do the right thing for their employees. Like what Sean Thomas has said here, like, you know, it's clear they are trying to do like the right thing for their employees, but then unless you force them, a lot of companies won't. And like the only way you can do that is if you can collectively bargain, like, you know, together as like a group. It's the only way that works.
I remember, you know, when the whole like the story that turned out to be largely false about like Foxconn and stuff, and the way iPhones are produced. There was that guy who was touring a show, and then it turned out he actually made a lot of it up. But and then This American Life did a really interesting follow-up episode where they got the guy to like admit it and apologise, which is unbelievable to listen to, by the way.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, and then they did some of their own actual research into this, and they were, you know, and it was, discussing this whole issue of like, well, yeah, they do work long hours and stuff, but hey, it's China, and that's what they're used to, and they're all fine with it.
They're not fine with it.
But it's like, yeah, but it's like, and it's like, well, even if they were, the whole point is like, we have the laws that we do because we believe that's how people should be treated.
Yeah, exactly.
So to then be like, oh, but they're okay with it in another country. It's like, no, people were okay with it, or relatively okay with it here, until some of us decided it wasn't good enough and we changed it.
Yeah.
And it's just people's unwillingness to be like, oh, but it's different over here, or in this industry, or in this country, doesn't stack up.
See, and over there were labour laws, but then they've just been like overridden now. Like they don't really matter so much anymore. But yeah, there needs to be regulation of like the workplace, and that's the only way it can work.
Yeah.
I've read one of these pieces recently. I think it might have been like the guys who did Mortal Kombat. Is it like something Realms?
Yes, was it Netherworld?
Yes.
Netherrealms. I think in that report they're like, well, we get unlimited holiday, which anyone working in a regular job like that must be amazing. But they're like, well, no, because there's no time to take it. And if you do ever book in any of this unlimited free holiday, people will give you looks, and they're like, well, so like, these companies are giving like these bonuses. Known full well that actually people aren't even really able to take them.
Yeah, wait, unlimited free holiday. I mean, instantly I'd be going. So it's up here.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take off 2019.
And I think like the really important thing, well, not the most important thing, but like Sean Thomas mentions, like as a result of introducing these changes and making everything a bit more employee friendly, they're not losing out financially. Like they are more profitable as a result. And I think that's what a lot of people struggle with. It's like, but these things have to take place in order for businesses to run. It's like, no, it's just not true. Like, efficiency is improved by just treating people well, turns out. But take home. I mean, I'm sure people do, companies where they are like quite lax about HR stuff or whatever, I'm sure people do take the piss. But yeah, overall, it seems like a better way to do things to me.
This isn't going to be the end of this. I think we're going to hear a lot from studios over the next few months. I think now others have said it. I think other people will come out in the woodwork for other studios as well. So it's going to keep running. But changing tact completely. Alex M9 UK. Sean's theory on In the Night Garden completely blew my mind. I just took it at face value as a dream, like a kids show. Nice one, Sean. Our bedtime viewing will now never be the same. We actually had a few people say like, thanks for ruining or also opening my eyes about In the Night Garden.
I mean, you say it's a theory. It's just plain as day to me.
Right, okay. I watched the intro. What's the kid falling asleep with his hand being twirled then? What's that?
Oh, I don't know. I hadn't really factored that into the lore.
Into your ridiculous theory, does it, Sean? It's a kid having a dream. That's clearly what it is. Just stop it.
No, but that kid is Eagle Piggle, like 15 years.
No, he's not. No, he's a kid in bed. He's a kid in bed falling asleep and having a dream. Why does he put the sail down? Because that's how you get to the night garden.
Because the kid is just being told the story about Eagle Piggle.
Well, Eagle Piggle's not a real thing.
No, I know. I know that. I know it's not a documentary, Dave. I'm just saying, the kid doesn't really factor into it because the kid is real and the kid is being told the story. The kid is being told a story about Eagle Piggle and it's like, he goes to the night garden. Obviously, the kid doesn't understand that this is a metaphor for him dying of scurvy in a boat. But
this is like when you get a flat earther. So, the Earth's flat. Well, how comes it's sunny in America and it's dark over here? Well, don't worry about that. No, don't worry about that.
It's not important. It's not relevant.
I'm not having it.
Yeah.
Don't ruin that show for me. I'm going to have to watch it again soon.
It's game over. Curtis at LukeHH4H. Regarding the last show, I thought, wow, they're really going to navigate their way through this whole porn Dogma chat without making a childish joke and bringing down the tone. But alas, up steps Matt to pluck that low-hanging fruit, never change. I could not have gone through that without mentioning something. I mean, I was waiting for the right moment. I had loads in the back pocket.
That's it. Matt was waiting the whole time with his cheeks puffed, red face, just waiting to blurt out.
I was like, okay, like how is no one else mentioning this? But it was.
You did well to hold out as long as you did.
Yeah,
it was impressive restraint, I thought.
I was going to make another pun, but yeah, you're right. I did good stamina. Lewis Belfort. I mean, this is all tweets I get, and like, it's like, what's that? I thought Sean was implying a dumb.
Just a compliment, Matt. Go on.
No, I think in pun, Sean. Like, well, he must have pun somehow.
Podcast, you did good stamina.
Right, Louis Belfort, like he tweeted saying Matt will never finish Days Gone. Louis, like you don't get it. If you tweet something like that, obviously I'm going to do it now. I'm just going to
challenge.
I'm going to cancel everything I've ever had to make sure I get that game finished.
I thought I'm with him on that. Like, if he hadn't have tweeted that, I thought there's no chance. I was even going to ask you, have you even played it like since last week? Because I just can't imagine that you. I mean, I know you have because I've checked, but I thought
doing his research as usual.
Louis, come on! It's like all you got to do is. I mean, I was gonna, I'll come onto it in like what you've been playing, but those sorts
It's
of
one of
tweets
those
obviously will
games
make you
where
want
I've
to finish
seen an
it.
amazing compilation video of bugs on YouTube. It's really funny.
What, in Days Gone?
Yeah. I'll have to send you a link. John tweeted it not too long ago. It's so funny.
I've never
It's just
seen
all
many
sorts of weird
actually.
shit in that game.
But they've also put like 60 patches in the last week, so it may have.
Yeah, apparently it's like going by the Rollmuck thread that they've really improved it recently. So.
And then, of course, we get on to the picture from last week. I'll just read off some of his tweets. SMW at Oostervu. Is the picture going to be the new bus? Athene Allen, hang on. Farley's just laughed for 5 minutes and you're not even bothered to explain why. This is a disgrace. Thomas at Lumsfluff42, you must show us a picture that caused James to lose a plot on this week's pod. Please don't seal that one in the vault with the L secrets like the thing James said to Dave on the bus. We had lots of things about it.
So first off, we did explain it and it got taken out at James's behest.
Hey, Sean, why are you dropping me in it like that?
Yeah. We explained it on the pod, and he's like, "Get rid of that. It sounds weird."
Why did you say that? Why did you get rid of it?
I wanted to get rid of the whole thing because I just thought it's really embarrassing and awful.
It's funny.
James, if we got rid of the whole thing, it would have been like, "Okay, here's one question. Goodbye."
Oh wait! You cut out what he was laughing at completely.
No, not completely.
No. The laughing is in there, but believe me, it's in there because everyone's complaining about it. We just cut out a bit where Sean and I tried to explain what the picture is because James.
Okay, well, I'll explain. Right,
let's get it explained now. Although James wanted me to cut it, so
I can't put the picture anywhere because it was sent to me by my brother. What I didn't realise is that he didn't even take the original video because it was on a Facebook page, right? And all it was, like,
it's already in the public domain. Okay.
No, because it's on a private group.
Okay.
Yeah, fuck. I don't. No, you'll be alright. So anyway, what it was, and you'll know why I can't put this out there. And he specifically said, "Do not put this out there." It was a video of some beavers getting invested into the beavers, which is when they've become proper beavers, right? Basically, before if you don't know what beavers are, they're before scouts. They're for the younger kids or whatever. And my nephew was in it. He's just been invested into the beavers, and they were walking through the streets on some parade thing, and someone was filming them, and my brother sent it to me because you could see my nephew walking along there. But that's not what I was looking at. What I was looking at was the kid standing next to him that noticed that he was being filmed and started pulling the weirdest face I've ever seen in my life. Like, I mean, he's a legend, an absolute legend. He noticed he was being filmed and pulled one of the best faces I've ever seen in my life, right? So I took a screen grab of it and just sent it to James. And it got to the point where James was like, "Please, you have to stop sending me this photo," because the other thing as well, if that ever made it onto the internet, it would be a meme, right?
Yeah,
it would,
absolutely,
because it works with everything.
Yeah,
like I sent you some. Like, I had some bad news recently. I sent you that bad news and posted that picture underneath, and it was still hilarious. It works with everything, right? So yeah, I kept sending it to James, and James said, "Look, you're really gonna have to stop sending it to me. Like, Chen's getting the ump because I'm just like laughing non-stop." And so you know what you do after that? You just constantly send him.
It was terrible, Dave. I was in the supermarket and I kept on getting them. And I was like having to hold on to like a shelf because I just couldn't stop laughing. And
my
people were
favourite.
looking at me like, like in that way, obviously. And Chen was so angry like about it. She was like, and then also we were, I was like in the car. We were just about to start driving, and I, put my phone down, but then saw it again, and then started the car up, started driving off, and then couldn't stop thinking about it. And I had to pull over because I couldn't see because I had tears in my eyes. It was
when you texted us and said, "Please don't send it. I'm in a conference." So I sent you a version of it where everyone else in the picture had the same face.
That was really awkward because that was like, I was in like a conference for like the whole of this week, and it was like serious kind of thing. And in the end, I just had to put my phone on Do Not Disturb, and then I was just trying to stop thinking about it as well because I was really worried that during one of the sessions I was going to just start thinking about it.
I've only ever had that once, and legitimately it was about the Leroy Jenkins video. The first time I ever watched that, I laughed my arse off, and then later in the day I was having a shower, right? And literally, that sound clip, Leroy Jenkins, played in my head, and I was doubled over in the shower, just like laughing. The tears were running down my eyes. It was just so funny. But yeah, I know that feeling. It's not nice. It's not nice.
Well,
right, is that it?
That's the feedback.
picture.
That's the picture explained now, and it's a shame we can't share it, but there you go.
It is.
That's also for follow-up and feedback. If you want to leave us any feedback on anything we say or do, it's podcast@computergameshow.com, or you can tweet us at computergamepod on Twitter.
That was a long one, wasn't it?
Was a bit. James, are you familiar with American folk hero John Henry?
Oh, you're not still
A
doing
little
this,
bit,
are you?
yeah.
So for those who don't know, he was a steel driver. So this is back in the day in America when they were building all the railroads and stuff. Occasionally they'd have to go through a mountain or whatever. And the way they'd do it is they would get these guys steel drivers where they have a big fucking hammer and they would drive I think it's like a steel rod into the side of the mountain, bore a hole in it, and then that would allow them to put dynamite in it quite a way in, blow it the fuck up, make a tunnel. But John Henry was one of these guys, and they started. They built a steam-powered steel driver, right? And John Henry thought this was appalling because he hated the idea of his job being taken over by a machine, right?
Yeah.
And this made me. I was thinking about this the other day, and it made me think about James, because Facebook at the moment is, doing this whole thing of the news on the way the news is shown on Facebook is still sort of curated, but they are teaching a robot to do it. They're teaching an algorithm, they're going to do it algorithmically.
Yeah.
And yet here we've got James who's slogging his guts out every week to actually hand curate the news for you guys, right?
Quality news.
And it just made me think about this whole man versus machine thing. And what actually happened to John Henry in the end was that he had a contest he competed against a steam-powered steel driver, and he actually won. But then, the strain of it, he basically gave him a heart attack and he died. So basically, James, what I want by the end of this news section is for you to have shut down Facebook, but also the effort might kill you. Is that all right?
Yeah, I can probably try that.
We'll just find you slumped over your keyboard, but you'll be a hero. It's fine.
Okay,
is that likely, James? You put in so much effort, it might kill you?
Because I would have... that's not very nice, Matt.
I'm just saying,
Anyway.
This has to stop. Okay. Honestly,
unfortunately, people really like it. I would love to stop doing this, Dave.
Yeah, Dave,
I really
doing
would.
that next year, whenever you come back.
Yeah, sorry.
You don't want to know what ones that I'd have planned. I guarantee I'll last a week, and then you go, actually, let's stop it. Go on.
Okay, so Xbox have finally decided to define what they mean by acceptable trash talk. So,
where did this start, James?
Okay.
What was have they been talking about this for a while then, or?
Well, last Tuesday they introduced these new set of community standards, for online conduct, and they've had these for a long time. There's always been a code of conduct, but this one's a bit different because they've been talking about how far players can go before they're crossing the line of trash talk and everything. So, I'll give you the quote. He says here, "A little trash talk is an expected part of competitive multiplayer action, and that's not a bad thing. But hate has no place here, and what's not okay is when that trash talk turns into harassment." So,
oh my god,
what they've done here is they've defined the difference like this. So this is the difference between trash talk and harassment. So trash talk is light-hearted banter or bragging that focuses on the game at hand. Whereas harassment is when someone gets personal, disruptive, or likely to make someone feel unwelcome or unsafe. Now, what's the best thing about this is they've also produced some examples.
They haven't.
They have. And, the examples...
Oh, you're kidding me.
The examples are pretty interesting, because they've got, two sets. They've got the example of, the negative stuff, you shouldn't talk like this is no good. And then they've got the examples of, you could probably say it this way instead. This would be a better way of saying it.
Oh my god, what the fuck are they doing? Don't they know the internet is just going to go mental with this? Look, don't get me wrong, I think there's some horrendous shit said on online services, right? And they absolutely should do something about it. But this sounds like someone's nan turning up to a school and giving an assembly. This is really... Oh, go on.
Okay.
Oh God, I've got to hear how they want us to talk.
Well, you see, I thought what we could do is we could do one better with this, and that maybe you could read out the ones that are like the offensive ones.
I'd love to.
I mean, obviously you're kind of suited for that. I mean, one of them is like it's just racist, straight up racist. So we'll skip that one.
They've just put a racist quote up there.
Yeah. Well, no, they didn't done that. What they've done is they've got like in brackets racial slur. So
they haven't.
They have, yeah.
Can you send them to me?
I'll send it to you now. Look, hang on, let's have a look.
Have you both read these then, Sean and Jay?
I've had a look. Yeah,
I've seen some. Yeah.
Oh,
it's a shame that, like,
these.
trying to explain to people how not to be dickheads obviously comes across really embarrassing and weird.
Oh God, my toes are curling.
So what I thought we could do is maybe you could read out some of these without the racism, obviously, and then after you've done that, I think maybe I'll read out the ones that are the nice ones about how you're supposed to saying it, and we can see how it goes. So,
all right, there's a lot of stuff in brackets here that isn't actually that's where the swear word's supposed to be. So, Matt, do you just want to put a bleep there so that when I get to that bit, you get a better idea of what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or what they think. Right, okay, just put a bleep there. Right, what are you doing? Am I saying my one first?
Yeah, you do your one first, then I'll do the other one. Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe replace number 4, and then that'd be better.
All right. Can't believe you thought you were on my level. I mean, okay. What are they doing? I mean, you could just say, don't put that. Like, don't say that bit. Why have they put? Why have they? Okay, all right, go on. And then what? Do you want more from me?
So what you were supposed to say instead of that was get destroyed. Can't believe you thought you were on my level. So that's the
get destroyed.
So as you say, that's just replacing one word for another. It's the phrase in general isn't the problem. It's just
the tone. Forget
someone
the tone.
used a sexual threat. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, profanity. That was some serious potato aim. Get wrecked. Oh my God.
Potato aim. I use that constantly.
Yeah.
But that's not the problematic bit, because the other bit is so the better way to say that is that's some serious potato aim. Get wrecked.
So you're not trash.
You can't say trash.
And there's no profanity.
Okay. The only reason you went positive was you spent all game camping. Kid.
Okay, I don't know what that even means, but
that means
kill yourself,
doesn't it?
Yeah.
Which is hard.
Okay.
I mean, I agree that should never be said. Like, I hate that. I hate it.
Same.
Yeah. So then instead you're supposed to say, only reason you went positive was you spent all day camping. Try again, kid.
Try again, kid.
I mean, who's written these things?
Major Nelson.
We'll do one more. Okay, let's just do one more. Otherwise, it's us just reading out a list that people's probably already read. Okay, ready? Fuck you stupid Go yourself. Go face. I can't believe you missed that shot, you stupid cunt.
Okay.
I thought that was a bit harsh.
Yeah,
it's a bit much. I'm surprised
What
it's
should
not on the
that have
website.
said, James?
You could have said, that sucked, get good, and then come back when your KD's over 1.
It's true. That is a better way of saying it. That's a better way of saying that.
Definitely.
You've got potato aim, kid.
Get wrecked. Oh, you're not supposed to say get wrecked, are you? Oh, no, you can say get wrecked.
You can't say
You can say
trash.
get wrecked.
That's right. Yeah,
I mean, this is it. Like you look at that list and like the. Okay,
This makes it worse, Sean. It makes it worse.
Yeah, like they've tried to illustrate it with examples, but really all they're saying is no sexual threats, no racial slurs, no profanity.
Yeah,
That's all they need to do. And if you get caught, these are the systems we've got in place to catch people that are doing this stuff. And if you get caught, you get a lifetime ban from Xbox Live. Done.
Kid.
Yeah.
This stuff is just going to make arseholes laugh so hard that it almost might have the reverse effect. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what they said? I mean, so they concluded by saying, be yourself, but not at the expense of others. If you're looking for a place on the internet to be overly edgy or get that rise out of people, Xbox isn't the place for you. So yeah,
try Sony.
See you on 4chan. Yeah.
Get a PlayStation
online.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, it's a serious problem. I see it all the time in Rocket League, and it makes me, I hate it. But all I do is report them, and we crack on. Like he just, Yeah. I mean, people could slag me off, say I'm shit, whatever, and they can, I've probably got a higher threshold than most people as well, but when it starts getting to some really nasty shit in there, then that's it. I don't give a shit.
When it starts talking about your KD ratio, you're like, whoa, okay, we've all had a laugh. Let's not.
It doesn't happen in Rocket League. I'd be questioning why they're having a go at me like about that in Rocket League. But,
maybe we could actually drive out running cars off the road. Trash. That's right. Also, I can't say trash. I'll be banned.
Just tell them to get destroyed. It's fine. And
get destroyed.
Potato aim, is that like a known phrase?
Potato aim.
Potato aim.
I've never
Have you ever heard that? Has anyone heard that before?
I've never heard that. It must be an American thing.
That sounds like an American thing, yeah. Potato aim. Actually, I thought I said tomato aim.
Potato aim.
You got tomato aim.
Okay, so actually, running on from that, Epic has acquired Psyonix.
Oh!
So,
whoa!
So this was
I saw Matt going, "Oh my god!" and then I saw loads of people saying, "Oh, please don't." Like, there's a YouTuber that I like. Can't remember his name now, but he's he does videos on Rocket League.
Huge fan.
No, I do. He only does Rocket League videos, and I really like his videos. I'll find out his name is in a minute, but he posted a video out recently saying, "Dear Epic, please don't ruin Rocket League," and I don't get it. What's the fear?
Okay, so the thing is about this. So this was announced last Wednesday, and is there a PC version at the moment? Does it exist?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's going to come to the Epic Games Store in late 2019, but they've already said it's going to remain on other platforms, like including Steam, for a while, and it doesn't seem that it's going to have any impact on the console versions. No. But with the big question mark over this, though, is the PC version, because it's not entirely clear whether it will disappear from Steam in the future, and it will only be on the Epic Games Store.
I thought Psyonix come out and said it's definitely going to be still available on Steam.
Well, they said it's still going to be supported, which is not necessarily the same thing. So it might not be, it might not be up for sale on Steam anymore. But if you own it on Steam, you can just carry on, playing it.
I mean, I can't see how this really matters that much. I mean, what do you think?
Well, I'm a huge Rocket League fan, and I have got no idea why this would be a problem. The only potential issue I could see is that. The only potential thing that I can see coming out of this is that Epic are going to chuck some money behind it, and we're going to, what they've done to this point is very good in terms of cosmetics and things they've added to the game. The only issue is that it feels like it's sort of peaked now with that stuff, and it needs some fresh ideas. And if that means some more talent working on that game, then it's all good. But I don't. Yeah, I'm not that bothered. I'm really not that bothered, and I might eat my words. But it's not been a major problem for me.
I'm surprised to see that Psyonix employ 132 people. Not that Rocket League isn't a complex game in its own way, but I don't know. That's surprising. It's only got one level, mate. It's just like, do you know what I mean?
I mean, it's just. Yeah, I mean, it's massive, isn't it? I mean, you wonder how many people how many of those people are actually working on the esports scene rather than the game itself. That's true.
Yeah, rather than actual development. Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah. So I think that's probably part of it. Yeah. But yeah, Sunless Khan, I think it is. I think that's the guy, Sunless Khan. Mm-hmm. His YouTube his YouTube videos are brilliant on Rocket League. I like them.
In terms of me seeing the acquisition saying, oh shit, it wasn't a negative thing. It's just basically this is huge. The fact that now they're not just buying exclusives, they're actually buying comanies, they're buying developers.
Devs,
This is huge.
So they're acquiring Psyonix. So it's not just them it's not just them buying Rocket League. It's presumably really what they're buying is whatever Psyonix do next.
Yeah.
Which will be really interesting to see. Because maybe they're not actually that arsed about Rocket League in and of itself. They want the people that made it. Well, they've hit
a point now where, the game's been out for so long. How do you improve on it? It's not an easy thing to improve on that game. There's no real need for a Rocket League 2. Where do you go from here? That's got to be their sort of, that's got to be the question at the moment. Where the fuck do they go from here?
Presumably there's going to be Rocket League Next Gen or whatever, isn't there? Maybe there'll be a new version for Next Gen machines.
Yeah, but that's it. How do you justify it?
Or are they breaking off to do something completely different? Who knows?
And that wouldn't be a bad shout. Rocket League's there and it'll still be rumbling away. I mean, Rocket League Next Gen is one thing, but there's a huge player base on PC. And for them to turn around to them and go, oh no, new Rocket League, they're going to have to change something, and there's not much you can change about that game without completely destroying it. So,
but there's also absolutely no doubt there will be a next gen version. I mean, this will be. They're going to want it on every platform. So absolutely no doubt it'll be on the next consoles.
How do you do that without fucking off the PC? The PC players.
Why would
How do you mean?
Why would that fuck off the PC players?
Just be a straight port, wouldn't it?
Because they don't need next gen. They don't need a next gen Rocket League.
Yeah,
but
they don't
I'm
work
sure
in generations.
Rocket League is Rocket League, and they'll play that.
I think Matt's talking about a port rather than an actual new version, right?
Well, I mean, I wasn't necessarily thinking about Rocket League 2. I was just thinking like, Rocket League as we know it will be on the new consoles, just like
of course it will be. Yeah. No, I know what you're saying, but then that's one of those things. Where do you stand after that? Like, do you then say, "Hey, we want to be on the new next generation of games consoles. We're going to charge them for that"? Or because backwards compatibility, as we all know, is probably going to be a big focus for the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox One.
Yeah.
Like, is it just going to be, hey, you own Rocket League, you now play Rocket League on this new Xbox, new PS4?
I'm sure they'll do remaster stuff. Just, it'll be... Obviously, they're going to repackage it in a way that means,
it's already 4K and everything. You know what I mean?
Like, we might just get the whole, like you do now with that, enhanced for Xbox One X kind of stuff. Where it's just they add a couple of extra bells and whistles, whatever, for it.
Well, yeah, that's it. But then, do you charge for that?
Of course.
You say that, but
because it's one of those games that it did as well as it did because they put it on PS Plus right off the bat, right? And it's one of the few genuine success stories as a result. I mean, obviously, PC and Xbox are separate from that, but I think the word of mouth was generated because of that PS Plus giveaway, and they've profited from that, because of all the microtransactions and stuff. Like, it's one of those games where it's worth, at this point, it's almost it's worth just people having people involved for free, so that they then they keep playing it, they keep talking about it, and they occasionally buy microtransactions.
Yeah, and the Rocket Pass has been fantastic. I don't know how well it's done, but it's been great. I've really enjoyed playing Rocket League with the Rocket Pass.
I'm sure it's absolutely killed it. I mean, with the millions and millions and millions of players, even a small percentage of them paying the amount it costs, I'm sure they've made an absolute bank with it.
Is this also only the second company that Epic's bought over the years?
I have no idea.
Because they bought was it People Can Fly, to do Gears of War stuff and everything, didn't they? Because they did Bulletstorm and everything.
Yeah.
I don't know the ins and outs of that stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So staying with Epic, because there's all this stuff about lower prices on the Epic Game Store. So Tim Sweeney's been talking again, because he seems to do this on a regular basis now about how great the Epic Game Store is, and he said that because of this 88% revenue share in the future, this is going to alter how new games are going to be made, and games will be cheaper. So he said, well, yeah, this is his argument. Yeah. So he said that the company had talked with developers to see what kind of sales they could get compared with Steam. And he said they were expecting that developers would get 40 to 50% of the rate of Steam at the moment. But he said that at the moment they're matching or exceeding Steam revenue, because of the 88% over what they had before. So he gives the example of Metro Exodus did 2.5 times better on the Epic Store than Last Light did on Steam. And he also said, though, that half of all Fortnite players on PC have never used Steam before.
Yeah, that was the biggest stat. That's why I wanted to talk about this.
I can believe
piece.
that.
That was us. I mean, we know Fortnite's obviously massive. It's an absolute phenomenon and whatnot. But the fact that this is a massive, massive new audience that didn't even have Steam installed before, and now they're playing Fortnite, and now they're on the Epic Game Store. It really has done way more than even I really anticipated in terms of broadening the market and getting new people into games. Because I thought, okay, well, it's just a lot of people that like shooters or like this and that, but to actually think this is people who haven't played games before, maybe from school age upwards, maybe their friends are playing this game, and I'll play this computer game everyone's talking about, and then it starts from there. I thought that stat was amazing.
Yeah, no, it is interesting. But yeah, I mean, this idea that games will be cheaper because the devs will be like, hey, well, if we can charge less and still get the same amount, realistically, I don't see that panning out, because among your indie developers, maybe, but I think most publishers will just be like, what, we can charge the same amount that people are used to paying and we get more money? Yes, please.
Yeah, definitely.
It's difficult to imagine them being so selfless as to just drop the price because, hey, who cares? We still get the same amount of money.
Yeah, it's never going to happen
really
for like the big AAA releases. But people expect games to be 50 quid, and if it's like, if a game comes out at 40 quid, you're like, well, why is it a budget release? And then that's a different, that like changes people's mentality. Like people expect, okay, this is a quality game. It costs the same as there's like a value associated with the amount it costs. I don't see one dev saying, "Oh, we can give the savings back to consumers." I don't see publishers doing that. Indie, I can definitely, and indie are already experimenting with there's like such a wide variety of prices for like indie games. You have like things like Celeste, which is like 20 quid, and smaller things which are free or like £1 or £2. They're already experimenting with that to try and sell as much or have a value associated with the game that they think is relevant. But I can't see like EA or Activision or anyone saying, well, we can sell COD now for like £35. Yeah. No chance.
I mean, the other thing that he talked about was, like the low number of games that are available on the Epic Store. And he said that this isn't
comparatively so to Steam.
Yeah, comparatively to Steam. And he's like, this isn't. He claims this is about quality control, and that they're not going to allow like just tons and tons of stuff to get released all the time. And he was obviously having a dig at Steam because he just said there won't be any porn games or asset flips. Yeah, that would be so that's
controversy.
Yeah,
which is a very polite way of putting, describing some of the stuff that's gone onto Steam lately. Yeah. I mean, it's such a shame because obviously, Steam's thing of like, just put whatever you want. It's like, great, that's, further sort of democratizes game development. It gives more people a shot at putting their stuff out there, but actually it's just created a totally unmanageable mess. One where occasionally people put stuff up that really isn't suitable for anyone.
Yeah.
So it's a shame that it's ended up that way. But as like an end user, like I think I am now veering towards like, do you know what? Please curate it for me because I haven't got the time to sift through loads of shit. To like, there are paid critics whose job that is to go through loads of weird indie stuff and pick out the best stuff and choose it. And like, as much as I would like to do that, and like I used to be able to do that, I feel like these days I don't have the time or it's just not as necessary because it's a lot easier to find good indie stuff now. Mm-hmm. Because that act of like actually sifting through stuff to just see, find things that seem interesting and be like that person who first spots like a weird and interesting game. Like that's just not an option for me anymore, I don't think.
See, it's weird, isn't it? Because I mean, I'm starting to get that now with like the Switch like eShop as well, and that's not in any way near the amount of stuff that's on Steam. It's like it's like 1% of whatever's on Steam, and you're just thinking, the idea of like trawling through all of that is it's boggling, and it boggles the mind.
Yeah. Sean, as a PC like user, have you downloaded the Epic Game Store to get like the free games or anything else?
Because we talked about this, didn't we? Yeah, so I downloaded it to get Subnautica.
Oh, Subnautica, of course, yeah.
Yeah, forgot to actually get Subnautica, and then the month ticked over, and
then you bought it on Switch, didn't you?
No, I don't think it's on Switch, is it?
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought you played them both on Switch.
No. So yes, I mean, I had it installed on my laptop, which I've recently binned off. I've not been in any great rush to install it on my PC that I'm now using it again. I guess I will, but I've not been hearing anything about the free stuff. Like it's not been like a monthly thing. Like, oh shit, now this is free on it.
I have been hearing that news, but it's been a lot of stuff which people have either had before or I haven't been fussed to install it. But I mean, a lot of people are saying this is great and all, but how about you give us like friends lists or like all the features that Steam's got.
Basic functionality.
It's a nice idea, but I can't see it happening. But whatever.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I'm not like loyal to Steam. If the Epic Store is just nicer to use in general and isn't a rip-off, I'm quite happy to switch over. I've not heard anyone, like really saying like, man, this is great. Fuck Steam. Like let's all move over. It's just not.
But it doesn't have to be all or nothing. It's short, like. Obviously, in the perfect world, all your games will be on one service. You wouldn't have to have different things installed, but that's just the way the things are going. Like I think a lot of people think, well, if you're using Epic, you're Epic only. But no, there's Steam, there's Epic, there's the EA one.
It's like I
Origin.
say, it's that thing of like, it's same as like if you've got several consoles, you like one is still sort of your main one, and then you make the effort to check the other one occasionally, or if like an exclusive comes out or whatever. It's similar, like, because you can't have them all loading up on startup because it's just a waste of resources and stuff. So like the one that you pick to load up when you turn your computer on is the one you're inevitably going to be on more. So I think there is still an element of like basically picking one, but then you're going out of your way to look at the others. But
it's just
that's
another
my
icon,
experience
isn't it?
of it, mate.
It's just another icon to click. It's not, You're not seeing it. Meanwhile, actually, while we've just been recording this, there's this walkout that's going on at the moment at Riot.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, that's happening.
This is just happening right now. There's Riot Games. There's a walkout going on because I don't know the full extent of this story apart from it's to do with forced arbitration. Where they're forcing people to to discuss certain issues and stuff. And so they've there's a whole walkout going on. There's lots of pictures online of people doing that walked out. It's
sorry, they're forcing people to talk about certain issues.
No, it's I'm just going on. I need to read because I don't know what it says here. I haven't read it all yet. It's I can't do this on the fly, Dave. It's like a massive article. It's
all right. I'm not having a go at you.
All right, okay. Shall I read you? Okay,
too defensive there.
I got a tweet here which says, "I am participating in the Riot walkout today. This is from somebody called Laura Mache, and she says it should not be legal to force workers into arbitration when they suffer sexual harassment or any other discrimination. Really, it's already not legal in several states. I'd like my company to be on the cutting edge of this issue. So it seems they've been forcing people into arbitration to discuss this when things have happened. So they're walking out at the moment. So."
I mean, good on them. Shame that it's got to this point, obviously. But yeah.
Yeah, I think they've always said that for new employees they're going to change it so you don't have to. There isn't forced arbitration, but for existing cases they're going to work through those as quickly as possible. But so hopefully it'll be better for new staff, and like these sorts of walkouts have made a change to make like the next generation of people who work there. It's better for them, but that still affects all the people that are currently working there and undergoing litigation and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it's not good, but it's good that people are making their presence felt and making a stand and taking a stand to make a difference.
Yeah.
Would you like an Anthem update?
Oh,
yeah!
God.
Yes, please.
Okay. So I've got 2 bits of news here this week. So 3 members of Anthem's development team, like apparently these are key members, have left now. And they've moved to focus on Dragon Age 4 instead. And Dragon Age 4 is apparently going to have live service elements to move it
fuck off.
To move it away from its single player route. So I'm sure, as Sean just said, everyone's going to be delighted to hear that. It's going to be a big thing. But anyway,
it's worked so well for Anthem.
It has, yeah.
So
Chad Robertson, who is the Anthem's head of live services, has said this. He said, "We remain 100% committed to Anthem and look forward to showing players the new content we're working on."
No chance.
I said
it's
to
not
Matt,
100%.
I said to Matt on Twitter,
no
that's
way.
like it's like that, when the manager
100%
gets like,
of the people still here are committed to working on Anthem.
Brian is still committed to.
I am 100%.
I'm surprised. I mean, it would have been even better if you'd have said we're 100% committed to the Anthem project and look forward to So yeah, it is the dreaded vote of confidence. But then, meanwhile, also Forbes have come out and they've said that players of Anthem are now struggling to find teams for matchmaking. And the biggest problem with this is the high difficulty stuff, because this often results in like having to play without complete teams, because if you want to do the higher level stuff, they're not worth doing because because of the scaling, you get less loot. So it's worth instead just running through the earlier content repeatedly. Like they said like some of the higher level stuff, it'll take like 45 minutes to kill a boss or whatever, whereas it can take like 5 minutes or whatever if you do it on lower difficulty, and you can just keep farming it to get like better stuff. So
what the hell?
Yeah, I know.
Destiny is very similar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, how do they? With Destiny, you do a easier level, one of the early levels or whatever, you get less good loot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's we talked about this before, but there's been this whole thing with Anthem about how they during the development they never wanted to discuss Destiny or talk about it at all or mention it, and
weren't allowed to. Yeah.
Yeah, that just seems bizarre. To think why.
It also sounds like bollocks because they tried to make a Destiny.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. At no point they didn't say Destiny. Well, rubbish.
No. But the whole point was like we're making something different, but it's like.
But they didn't.
No, they didn't, and they should have learned. I mean, it would have been better if they'd have learned from some of the stuff that Destiny went through, like when it
James,
was,
they studied Destiny. They copied the majority.
Apparently
of it.
not.
They did.
Not according to staff that were interviewed about it.
Well,
they were like, no,
don't
there
talk
was a
about that.
blanket
If they did-
ban on discussing it.
If they did, then surely Anthem would be a better game. Like by this stage,
It's like me. It's like me painting a shit version of the Mona Lisa and someone going, that looks a bit like the Mona Lisa. What? I've never heard of it. What? No, we don't. Well, I don't talk about that.
I mean, these were developers who were quite openly critical of how things were run, so I don't think they're being defensive.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't like they didn't know what
joking,
Destiny was.
but,
They
like,
just said it wasn't allowed to be discussed in the office.
I'm joking, but like it's like yeah. I mean, the stories that are coming out from the development of that game are so like. I mean, you can see why it's such a mess, and it is a shame because we've all loved BioWare games at one point or another, you know.
Yeah.
But with Andromeda followed by this,
And it sold really, really
give
well
you
in the
much hope
first
for
month.
Dragon
I
Age?
mean, again, James didn't have that in his list of news stories at the time, but it did amazing well in the first month on sale. Yeah. Obviously, not less so now, but
then didn't it drop to about £20 within a couple of weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the story that James has linked to. There's a little box out that's like, read more, everything you need to know about Anthem's lore, characters, and factions. If I click on that and it's not just a blank page, I'm going to be so disappointed.
But you see, what's also worrying is that Dragon Age 4 stuff, like saying that they're moving that towards like live service stuff and everything, which it's pretty clear that everyone hates that.
Which is just bad because even within, like, you know, EA's pantheon of developers, they've got, Respawn going up on stage and saying, guys, we're doing a new Star Wars game, no microtransactions, and everyone fucking cheers.
Yeah.
And it's like, look at what people are telling you and how people are responding to what you're doing. That's fuck, man. Because they would get that same cheer if they said that about Dragon Age. Like, everyone would be so fucking relieved if they were just like, we're just doing a good story game with no online shit.
But then you've got to remember as well that the people there that are sitting there cheering and whatever, they don't represent the majority of the people, clearly. Otherwise, microtransactions would have never become a thing.
Or Electronic Arts have a spreadsheet that says, yeah, people won't like it, but enough of them will pay to make it worth the hit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, are you guys saying like live service games are the issue, or is it just the fact live service combined with Dragon Age, which is a primarily single-player game?
I think it is just a poor fit for what
because obviously like
BioWare
Division
do.
2's like done it incredibly well, and there's Destiny and so on and so forth. So people saying a live service game, we shouldn't instantly think, oh god, it's going to be bad. It's just the fact that
I think it's the idea of taking something that people like and then taking it in a direction that people don't want it to go, really. You know, that's the issue with this. It's not
because they tested the waters with this with Mass Effect 3 with the whole, the multiplayer tying into the single player a little bit, and then Anthem's crap. So I've no. I mean, Andromeda didn't have anything like that, did it? I know it had multiplayer, but it didn't really.
It had that thing where you had to send off it like time stuff.
Oh, yeah, and it's like, and there's an app and you can do it on your phone as well.
Yeah, I've got a feeling that it was sort of a workaround one. But where you put a team together and sent them off to do missions and it was all time, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, fine, it wasn't offensive, but I didn't even remember it until you mentioned it.
Yeah, I mean, I did it once and then never again.
So, I mean, Dragon Age 4 depends how intrusive it is, I guess. But I'm not confident based off BioWare's form with that stuff.
Okay, Project xCloud has moved to the take-home phase. So what this is obviously xCloud's been going on, like they started testing it in private towards the end of last year, but now it's got to this phase where, people take it home and they can test it, like at home and stuff like that. I mean, it's significant because it means the system's going to be tested in like less than ideal environments. And, compared with like the other stuff that's before.
So this has only been tested within like offices that have insane connect. Right, okay, gotcha, yeah.
So, and then apparently they're going to have public trials are expected to begin like later this year. So that, I mean, I'd imagine that this stuff will probably get announced at E3, won't it? Like they'll say this is what we've got and this is when it's coming and stuff like that. I mean,
how do you think they're going to test it? Is it going to be literally a download for your Xbox?
I'd imagine so.
They'll just say sign up if you've got an Xbox One or an Xbox One X.
Yeah,
sign up. You'll get a download.
But the whole point is that this is on any device. So just saying it's on an Xbox, it sort of goes against the whole point of it. Surely,
it's a controlled system, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
maybe they'll add another tab, like to the top, where it's got like Game Pass and stuff like that. And there'll be another one just says xCloud.
Yeah.
Click on that. But the thing is, I know this is supposed to be for anything else as well, but I wonder how they're going to do that with, what sort of devices this is going to support. I know they're saying it's going to support everything, but like for example, if this is going to come out like so you can use it on iOS. How is it going to work with controllers and stuff? Like, is it just going to be like MFI controllers, or is it going to be something else they've come up with, or whatever? That's what I'm most interested about. This is how that's actually.
I'm more interested about seeing if it does actually come to Switch.
That would be interesting. Yeah,
definitely.
That is the one, isn't it? Like that is. I mean, Microsoft and Nintendo at the moment, honestly. Get a room, guys. They're all over each other, aren't they?
They really. I mean, it would be amazing if Game Pass came to Switch. I mean, and that's definitely a dream. Whether that happens or not, I don't know.
See, if you think about it though, if like xCloud and all that, if it comes to like Switch and it works and everything, I don't know if I'd be bothered to get a next generation Xbox. Like, why would I bother? If I can just play all that stuff through xCloud on my Switch, why would I care about getting a new console?
Yeah, no,
exactly. But I think that's what they want. They want.
Yeah, as we said, like on something. Oh man, we can't really talk about what we said on that video. But one of the points we made was that do you think Microsoft really care if you buy an Xbox next gen or not? Because they're shaping up to be a company that doesn't give a shit if you buy their console or not. Like as long as you sign up for their service, mate, they're happy because that's where the money's being made.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, we're obviously going to see more of this at E3, and I can't wait to see how it goes down. Really.
Okay, so after we recorded last week, we had the Sonic movie was revealed. They had the trailer and everything came out. I think it came out. Didn't it come out while we were recording last week? I think, and we saw bits of it.
It was the next day. It wasn't a day.
Yeah, it was the next day. Yeah.
Okay.
I think we saw some of the screenshots from it or something, and we were like, "Is that real?" And it's like, unfortunately, yeah. And so anyway, this came out, and the internet obviously went mad and had a right go about the whole thing. Not happy with various aspects of it. So now the director of the movie has announced that there's going to be changes to the character. So this guy, his name's Jeff Fowler, and he said it's going to happen. Everyone at Paramount and Sega are fully committed to making this character the best he can be. And so they're going to redesign it.
How much of a decision is that? It's like what is the financial decision they've had to make?
Yeah,
they're going to take a massive hit.
They've only got 6 months as well because it's out in 6 months. So that's that's. Talk about
delay the film. Surely, how are they going to get this done?
Yeah, you'd have to delay
6 months. Just delay it.
You think so? Either that, or people are going to, referencing the conversation we had earlier. Yeah, people are going to be working some long fucking hours to get this done.
Yeah.
So the initial trailer. Am I the only one that didn't despise it?
I didn't despise it.
I didn't despise it too. Yeah. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing it. It obviously is weird.
That was it.
Okay.
The way Sonic looks, he does look weird. He's got the weird human teeth. He's an odd shape.
It's the hand.
He's a kid wearing pajamas,
Yeah, but I was just like, oh well, it's just a different Sonic. I don't understand why people are being quite so precious about it.
It was that.
I kind of disagree because I honestly think it's the right thing to do. What they're doing is redesigning the character again. I would understand why people were upset about that. I mean, if the Mario, this new Mario film is coming out, in a few years, like they're way early into production with that. But if the Mario film come out and Mario looked nothing like Mario, you'd think, what the fuck?
Or if you look like Bob Hoskins.
Yeah, but if it was literally a 3D cartoon of Bob Hoskins walking about, or if there was a Mario trailer that come out and he had the the Brooklyn accent rather than the Mario accent,
Italiano.
Or it's like Mario, but it had like hedgehog teeth and like he looked like a kid wearing like Mario pajamas.
They made jokes about child abductions. As well.
My point is, I totally understand why. And, initially when I saw that trailer, I was like, it don't look that bad. But then when we started seeing artists' impressions of what
that was
the
the thing,
like,
this is the first time ever where every sort of fan version, they all looked better. All of them.
Yeah, way better. Way better. And
you see, but I just see it as different. I don't really, I saw mock-ups of him looking more like the Sonic that I recognise. Maybe I'm just not precious about Sonic
Sean,
in general. I'm not a huge
He looks
Sonic
dirty.
fan. It does look dirty,
That's the
I don't
point.
know.
He did look weird. Those legs just look fucking odd, and the hands and that. But like, also, Gangster's Paradise was a weird choice.
that was a
Like
weird
those-
choice.
But I
Yes,
think-
that was very strange.
And also, it's essentially the same plot as both Hop and the Chipmunks movie, which is weird. A man finds thing that talks and then tries to hide it from the rest of the world in a bag. Usually, well, that happens.
Yeah.
You know. But
I
I
also
thought
this
James
is it, like-
Marsden. James Marsden was in Hop as well, wasn't it? So there's literally the
yeah,
same
oh
film
god,
again.
makes it even weirder. He's literally doing the same film again.
I mean, but this is the other thing. Like, I feel like the design of Sonic is so unrelated to whether or not the film will be any good. Like, if it's funny and well written and the acting is good, then people just be like, yeah, Sonic looks a bit weird, but you'll see past that.
I know. Did you see Jim Carrey doing, circa Ace Ventura? Jim Carrey?
He's going to carry this
Great,
film.
I loved
if you
it.
pardon the pun, he's going to carry this film. I can't wait to see him be like old school wacky Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
He's
Same
going
here.
to be
90s.
brilliant in this.
It's just.
What's that, James?
That was funny in the 90s. I just don't.
Oh, fuck
I don't
off,
like
James.
it.
No, look, if we can basically get Ace Ventura again, but without the transphobia, I'm all up for that.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. I mean, he's going to be this. From the trailer alone, I think he'll be brilliant in this. Absolutely brilliant. I mean,
Same
I
here.
thought he was great.
So do I.
But,
Terrible dialogue.
Yeah. But they've made the right decision. Sean, honestly, initially I was thinking the same way as you did. But I get it. I do get it because, as I say, if we're watching a Mario film in 2 years' time where he's like, "Hey Luigi, what are you done with my mushrooms?" you go, "Oh, fuck off." So yeah, I get it.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm extremely excited, and I'm going to. If anyone knows anyone related to the film, James and I need to go to the premiere, and we want to go dressed up. So it has to happen, James.
I know. I'd really genuinely be up for that because I think it'd be very funny. Yeah.
Did you know this about the premiere of movies? I've been to a premiere, it's quite interesting. You know how you get competitions to go to a premiere, or certain people get invited to a premiere or whatever. Did you know that there are several screens showing the same film at the same time at the premiere, where they have all the people that walk the red carpet and the celebrities and that go into one,
Yeah, that makes
and
sense.
then all the competition winners and all that stuff get ushered into a completely different screen, completely separate from the celebrities and everything.
Yeah, that
it's
makes total sense.
fascinating.
Yeah.
It is fascinating. Also, they start the film, all the competition winners and everything, way earlier than the celebrities and stuff, so they can just kick them out the building before the real before the real premiere ends. You know what I mean? I learned a lot that night.
But if anyone knows anyone related to a Sonic movie, James has actually agreed to get dressed up for the premiere. So I've been thinking like full Sonic outfit, blue faced a lot.
Yep.
Let's
what I'm
go.
saying, Matt, is that you'll be in a cinema with just a scum.
I think
People that
it'd be
entered
worth
an
it to see
O2
James dressed
competition.
up as Sonic, though, wouldn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I'm not discrediting the idea. I think it is. I think it's the best idea you've ever had. But I'm just pre-warning you. That's all. You're not going to be sitting next to Jim Carrey.
Damn.
Right.
Okay. Also, so Valve have also unveiled the Index, and so pre-orders are open now, and it's going to be out on the 20th of June. So this is their VR thing pitched at like serious like VR users apparently, and you get a headset and the Index controllers. And the headset has external tracking though, so it's different to. Is it the Oculus doesn't? The new one of those, they're not going to have that, right? It's like internal.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does it?
So it
I'll
doesn't
be
have
honest
to.
with you,
So you don't need
boys.
to like put cameras up in your
Yeah.
fucking room. It just
Right, okay.
But with this
I'll
you
be
do.
honest with you. I'm so out of the loop now. I've not. You've said so much shit tonight that I haven't understood. Yeah, that is. So they're releasing their own headset, are they?
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Helmet.
I mean, the thing is, it's got these dual like 1440 by 1600 like RGB LCDs that are like 120 hertz. But the big thing is the controllers, because they've got like 87 sensors, and apparently they're capable of like tracking hand positions, finger positions, motion, pressure,
That's
all that
cool.
kind of thing. But the price is like £919, and you still need a PC, like a good PC to run it as well. So this is really at the other end.
Yeah, like I'm sure it's very impressive, and I would like to have a go on one, but when, still the main issue for VR is just the accessibility of it and the cost and the getting it into people's homes in the first place. This doesn't help, does it?
Yeah, well, it doesn't sound like they're interested in that market at all, does it? So, right. So, where does it sit in terms of power? Then, is it better than the Vive? Is it going to be the best headset you can buy?
These specs are even bigger than the Vive Pro, which got announced late last year, early this year. Yes, this is definitely the most. Technically proficient headset, but with like Oculus Quest out or the reviews out in the last few weeks, and that being an Oculus headset which is good enough, doesn't require PC, and haven't been really impressed with that. And then you've got this, which is for the complete enthusiast, the other end. It'd be interesting to see where this goes.
Well, because the Quest has only got, it's only about $330, isn't it, as well? It's like not super expensive either.
I really want to go on a Quest just to see what it's like. You can play things like Super Hot and loads of like sort of Oculus and Vive games. Oculus games definitely. I think I'm sure it's like Vive ports, but but without any sort of head, without any PC, without any cables. I love
without a head.
Yeah,
how much is that, James? Did you say?
Wasn't it about $330 or something? The Quest.
Yeah, it's not expensive.
Well, it is.
I'm just reading it properly. Yeah, so I've misunderstood. So it does have base stations. So you do have to put cameras up and stuff. Yeah. Okay, cool.
There we go. I mean, I haven't touched my PSVR for a couple of months again now. I don't know because it's just sitting there, but it's just the hassle of using it. I still get that sometimes. Where once I start using it, I do really enjoy it, and it's really great. But then it's just I don't know. When's that new game coming out? The one that's the London studio one.
That's out in the next few weeks. Actually, I'm sure it's May time.
Okay.
I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, because that looks good. Okay, anyway, David Cage has been tweeting again, and I just wanted to stick this in here because it's an amazing quote. I mean, it's basically, he's got here, Detroit Become Human changed me forever. It proved, okay, I'm going to read it exactly as it says, it proved me that video games didn't have to be about killing people. They could evoke complex themes and subtle emotions, resonate differently with different people. And,
What?
So that's David Cage.
I mean, it just shows how deluded he is, doesn't it?
Well, it shows
There's
what
scenes
massive...
in that where you gun down a whole...
Yeah.
All right, they're androids, but they get gunned down and shit. There's loads of killing in that game, isn't there?
Yeah. I mean, but it also shows what a sort of an intellectual and creative bubble he lives in. Where it's like he hasn't seen that there's been games, obviously, for years that have done all these sorts of themes, mostly better as well. And it's like, it's just incredible, that kind of statement. What do you think, Matt?
I mean, I obviously like Detroit, but this I don't quite understand. It's like this isn't even something that he's written. It's like, why? I don't understand how someone could be like this in 2019 without playing the millions of other games which are like doing incredible things without requiring killing. And also his games have loads of killing. I don't know what's happened there. But it doesn't change my feelings on Detroit, but this tweet is mad.
Yeah.
Absolutely mad.
And that's it. That's all I got for the news. We're all done.
Cool.
What a week of news.
Yeah. I mean, just as well it lasted a while because what we've been playing might be a bit dry. I mean, Dave's got plenty, but so shall the three of us rattle through and then let Dave do all of his?
Yeah.
I'll get mine out of the way really quickly. So I've still been playing loads of Dragon's Dogma, still really enjoying it, still really nice, like actually having an active player base again. Everyone trading pawns, plural. Matt.
Yeah, more than one movie,
just like that whole sort of community being active again has been really cool. And the people I know who already love the game, all talking about it, and people who are just playing it for the first time, getting involved and asking questions and stuff. It has been really good fun.
I wonder how it's done sales-wise.
Yeah, I mean, there seems to be plenty of people talking about it, but obviously, the bubble we live in, that might mean literally nothing.
Have you seen it in like the Switch charts or anything?
It's at the top of the Switch. It's number 2, I think, on the Switch charts at the moment.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, it was bad enough that the servers stopped working for a couple of days as well, so that says something, I guess. The only other thing I've been playing is I've been playing a shitload of Star Wars Pinball on my telephone. So I went to Play Expo this weekend.
Oh, yeah. How was that?
And it's really good, man. It's not like there's like barely anything new in it. It's not really about that. It's sort of mostly retro focused. There's like shitloads of arcades. There's like a really cool sort of retro market. There's like loads of people on PCs playing like Doom and stuff. But there's also really like a massive pinball section, and we've blagged entry to. There was like if you donated to charity, there was like a sort of after party on the Saturday.
Sorry, you blagged your way in.
Blagged your way, yeah, just snuck in.
A charity event. You just thought, well, we ain't gonna give money to charity.
I think it was still like broadly invite only, but yeah. And it just meant that like because obviously
it's invite only, or you had to pay £1. It's like, well, fuck that. who do I know? Who's
an exclusive club of people who gave 10p to charity.
It's for the children. I'm Sean Bell from the Computer
Game
Show.
Free invite.
Your
pound can swivel.
So obviously, yeah, Play Expo's great, and there's like all these pinball machines and arcades all on free play, but obviously people are on them, and you've got a queue, and like there's a little bit of a wait. And
so we flagged the look through.
Yeah, fuck off Daytona, mate. I'm Sean Bell.
Yeah. But at the after party, obviously, there was like hardly anyone there, so it meant you could just get a go on whatever you wanted. And it's the first time in my life where I've been able to just be like I've always known I would probably enjoy pinball, but just never having the situation where I can just say, right, I'm just going to stay on this one pinball machine for like half an hour and learn it and figure out what the fuck is going on. And because normally either, you're either paying for every go that you have, which when you're shit is really not fun, or if it's on a free play, it's in like a free play setting, there's usually other people waiting for a go. So just having the opportunity to just actually concentrate on one table and really enjoy it, and then move on to another one and then another one. It turns out I really like pinball. But then, and I spent ages on there's a Terminator 2 one, which turns out is like quite a famous one. And I was like, well, it's pretty old, so could I feasibly get one day? It starts at about $3,500. So it's this kind of thing of like, oh fuck, I've like discovered this new thing I really enjoy. Also, I will almost never get to indulge it. So
that's only half the price as well, isn't it? Because the maintenance and that.
Exactly, yeah. So if you even if you were to get one for $3,500, it'll probably already need work doing. So instead, I've just started downloading. So Zen Pinball, they do like Pinball FX so and a bunch of other stuff. So like all of their pinball stuff is really cheap on your telephone, which is arguably the best way to play it anyway, because obviously the shape of the screen and stuff. Like the console versions are a bit weird because you've got this like really low down view of the table, and it's quite hard to gauge like depth perception and stuff.
Yeah, but the lack of buttons, isn't that like?
I mean, kind of, but then it's only like feedback. Digital input anyway. Because I'd always thought, like prior to actually having a go on a proper pinball table, I'd always assumed that there was like analog control of the flippers, but it's not. They're just clicky buttons.
No, I get that, but then it's the feedback of those buttons that you're clicking, though, isn't it? That
true.
For me,
and obviously,
really hard
if once you get good, you do actually like give the table a little nudge sometimes to try and save the ball or whatever. Which that stuff is usually in pinball games, but I never really understand how I'm supposed to use it because again, like you say, that there's no that sort of tactileness. There's definitely a proper word for that. You don't get that when you're just playing it on your phone. But basically, so I just downloaded the Star Wars app, and just every table's like 89p. Which is ace. So yeah, I've been spending loads of time on that and really enjoying it. But as I say, as this sort of incredibly watered down thing, because I know I'll never actually own a pinball table, and I don't know when I'll even get to access one again that's on free play, and I can just take my time with it.
Sean, is this as good as a Microsoft is it like 3D Space Cadet pinball that came with Windows 95? Because that was a banger.
I don't remember that one.
You don't remember that? It had like.
Do you remember the one where you had to type like blue 7.3 and then change the font to something in Word or whatever, and then a pinball game?
That was a secret one.
Yeah, the one Excel, yeah. Oh, you must remember
we went through this
3D Cadet pinball. It came with like Windows 95, maybe later ones. James, you must remember that, surely.
I do remember. Yeah, they had it. Wasn't it? It was packed in, wasn't it? You could like
packed in with 95. Yeah. I paid so much for that.
Matt, we went through this process, didn't we, when on the PS4, where we both got into
Zen
Pinball.
What were those games? Like Zen Pinball's one.
Yep. Zen Pinball was the one that we were playing.
Was it called that? Or was it Pinball
I
FX?
don't know. We always had a massive argument about it. I was pretty sure it was called Zen Pinball. But yeah, no, it was the one with that ghost. Oh, you gotta find the ghost.
Oh yeah,
or whatever it is. Yeah, and I mean, the scores we were racking up were pretty insane.
No, I did love that when it came on PS4 actually.
Yeah, well, because there's at least one PSVR one as well, which apparently is surprisingly good.
The Walking Dead one's meant to be very good.
Yeah.
Sean, the Walking Dead table's meant to be really good. You played that, didn't you, James?
I did not know. I've never really been.
Oh, someone did. I'm sure. I thought it was someone on the podcast that played the Walking Dead table, but
no, I'll give that a look. But yeah, really it's good. Just as I say, just really weird having like this door open to me, and then this is really good. Right, you'll never get to properly enjoy that for ages again. But I mean, yeah, the way the foam ones are done is really nice, and I really like the fact that like, you know, they look like real actual pinball tables, but then they acknowledge the fact that they are video games. So like the Star Wars ones, there will be like Star Wars characters actually like running and jumping around on the table and stuff, and like you can make the Millennium Falcon take off or whatever to activate in different modes and stuff. That sort of acknowledgement that it's like, yeah, but it looks like a pinball table. It doesn't have to be real. It doesn't have to follow like, you know, the restrictions of what you could actually build on an actual pinball table. So that's cool. And yeah, it's just 89p a table, man. Bargain.
So is this Star Wars Pinball 7?
Yeah, I don't know why it's called 7. I don't know where that comes from.
Because on iOS, this is I'm assuming it's the same, but it says it's made by Zen Studios. So Dave, this is the same people that made the game we loved.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I don't know if we called it Zen Pinball. But I don't know if that was what that game was.
Oh, no, it definitely is.
Called.
I just searched on iOS, and if you then search the developer Zen Pinball, it's got the first picture is that table we absolutely hammered of the two kids, and it's got Sorcerer's Lair, and I can almost hear like
Sorcerer's Lair.
I can almost hear like the sound bites in my head now. Where Lair's like, oh, you don't want to do that. I don't know.
Oh, the ghost is here.
The ghost is coming. Don't tell the table because the ghost is.
Oh, the ghost has got the ball.
The ghouls are here.
You're going to have to flip the ghost away now, aren't you?
The shelves are haunted. Yeah, anyway, I'd love that game.
Sounds good. I'll buy that one next.
Yeah, you should get the Sorcerer's Lair one, for sure.
Yeah. The Sorcerer's Lair one was free. It was free.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's why we got into it.
I'm downloading it now. I've got to hear their sound bites again.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I mean, that's me. This week, James, do you want to do yours?
Yeah, I mean, I've played very little this week, apart from FIFA, obviously, because that just gets played every day. Not like Sean.
Every day?
Pretty much, yeah. I play it pretty much every day because I just play career mode. That's the only thing I usually play.
What year are you in career mode?
You're playing like 60 now.
No, I'm about 4 or 5 years in now. I think it's because I only play like one game a day. I don't like to sit there playing it.
I still don't get it. I assume you play as Chelsea, right?
No, I don't usually actually.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
because like I just think surely it's better to like pick a lower league team and then work your way up if you're doing it for that long.
It's really the enjoyment I get out of it is picking a team from like Division 2 or something like that, and then trying to get them up to the Premiership.
So who are you?
Say again.
So what team are you controlling at the moment?
I mean, I change every year. I mean, this year...
it doesn't depend.
No,
What's
come on,
going
James,
on?
You've got an answer.
You're hiding something.
No, it doesn't depend. I mean, it depends. I mean, I've chosen like Gillingham. I've gone for them because they're like close to where I live.
But I asked you who you're currently controlling.
Sheffield Wednesday. I was doing
Sheffield Wednesday. What made you go for Sheffield Wednesday?
I think because they haven't been in the Premier League for ages, and I just thought it'd be fun to get them up there. You know, I don't know.
From the depths of the Championship.
James.
No, see, I can't do Leeds because it's Leeds.
I didn't say Leeds.
No, but I'm talking to Matt because Matt.
Oh right, okay, yeah. But you can't do Leeds.
Yeah, I can't do Leeds. Millwall. I don't know. It's I don't know.
Best team in London, mate.
Yeah.
No, the best team of all. Everybody knows us. We're called Millwall. No one believes that when they sing it. You can't just put that in song and we all believe it. Yeah. Fucking idiots.
But no, that's what I enjoy doing though. Is like doing that, and then also like sometimes like playing in the other leagues abroad and stuff like that. It's just I mean I don't generally play as Chelsea because it's just there's no point really. There's not so much challenge and all that kind of thing. You know, it's just nice to like build a team and sort of
I mean, there's nothing weirder than falling in love with a player in a video game because he scored a couple of goals for you in this game, and then hearing about him like on Sky Sports or whatever, Gillingham won today in goal scorer such and such. And you're like, oh my god, I totally know what you mean.
A few years ago, one of the FIFA demos, it had Toronto FC as like one of like the demo teams, as an MLS team. And one of their strikers was called Ibrahim, and me and James Ramson played like as the demo had like Man City, Barcelona, and Liverpool, one of them which was Toronto FC, and then we did like a season playing as Toronto FC because we loved Ibrahim so much, and he was like scoring our goals. Yeah, we love that guy. I mean, I don't know if he still plays, but and now have like a special place, Toronto FC in my heart, just because of that incredible couple of seasons where we played as. What a player! What a man!
So yes, still been playing that. But then, I mean, the only other things I played Deadly Premonition, and as I said, I'm just not having a good time with it now because it's just so tedious.
You are hating it, and to be fair, I don't blame you. I watched like Friday stream. I was like, okay, surely this is the end now. It's like, no, it's really dragging its heels.
Yeah.
But do you know how far are you from the end now?
I know that I'm close. I know that I'm pretty close, but then
you'll get it done the next stream, or
well, hopefully. But then you never know when they're going to make you like drive from one end of the map to another. That will take like half an hour. Like you never know when that's going to happen. It's
never half an hour, James. I mean, we're basically at the end of the stream. They're like, "Oh, just drive to the next location. You might be entering." You know, I'm not going to drive high. It'll be like 10 minutes. It just feels like half
15
an hour.
minutes or so, and then I mean,
so it's not half an hour.
You forget that like not last week, but the week before last, and I played it, and I spent literally about 45 minutes chasing a dog around the town. And then where it would just like, I had to follow the dog, it would stop, then there'd be some dialogue that was completely irrelevant to what was going on, and then the dog would be off again, and you'd have to chase him again, and it just went on for hours, for at least half an hour or so. That was half an hour,
15 minutes.
It was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous, and that is the worst thing about this game. Is it's just the pacing is so terrible. It's like there's some really like odd, weird potential in the game, and there's bits that I was really enjoying when I was playing it, but it's just so tedious. Like you just get. I got stuck on a door again. Like this time, like I couldn't. I mean, again, this was 30 minutes. This really was 30 minutes before I managed to get through this door because I didn't realise that. So through the whole of the game, to open doors, you just go up to them and press A. It's pretty simple. That's all that happens, and it's like it says in the beginning. That's what you got to do. For some reason, for this particular door, it's not explained. There's no indication whatsoever. You have to hold down A until he opens the door, but it doesn't explain this. So if you go up to the door and just press A, he just sort of slams himself against it and then falls backwards. And you're just like, what is going on? And then I just spent ages just wandering around trying to figure out where I was supposed to go next. It's just so frustrating. Like, just really, really...
A couple of points here, James, right? The first being, whereabouts does this sit in terms of the games that you've streamed? So, like Heavy Rain and Detroit, and whereabouts does this sit compared to those?
Okay.
Do you hate this more? Yes?
It's difficult to say because, I mean, I definitely say, Heavy Rain is significantly better than this. Like, it really is. In terms of, maybe the story stuff is maybe, like, and the dialogue is maybe poorer, maybe, than this. But
what, in Heavy Rain?
Yeah, because, come on, Heavy Rain had terrible dialogue as well. I mean, come on, the Great Glasses, it had all that kind of stuff. The thing with Heavy Rain was that it was...
I wouldn't say Great Glasses was bad dialogue. It's just a stupid, funny moment.
I know, but I don't think it was intentionally funny. But that's the thing, because, you see, I enjoyed playing Heavy Rain because it was unintentionally hilarious, like, in places. And that's what made me want to play it, because I wanted to see what was going to happen next. Beyond Two Souls was, like, also really badly written, but wasn't so funny. Like, there wasn't as much in it. The problem with this one is that there are bits... I mean, this doesn't feel... How do I put it? The dialogue with this is not as bad, I don't think, as Heavy Rain, because it's designed to be like this. It's not accidental, if you see what I mean. Do you get what I mean with that?
Yeah, no. I mean, some of it is just outright shit.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, you can create something which is like crap, but then you're doing it on purpose. And like, there's dialogue in this which is clearly designed to be bad. That's the idea. Whereas with Heavy Rain and with a lot of David Cage's stuff, I don't believe that he ever writes dialogue that he thinks is bad.
We're going into this way more than I thought we would. But like, where does it sit?
it's
But
probably...
so in terms of best to worst games you've streamed, whereabouts does this sit? You don't have to go through them all, but...
Okay, the most enjoyable was probably Heavy Rain. Least enjoyable was probably Beyond Two Souls. This is probably about in the middle of those, I'd say.
Right, okay.
In terms of irritation.
The other thing, it's interesting you talk about pacing and how much you hate that and, needless busy work.
Yeah.
I'm playing one of your favourite games of all time, Shenmue 2 at the moment, and there was a bit where I had to go up and down a lift because these two lifts that were sat next to each other didn't go to all floors.
Yeah.
Literally for no reason.
Yeah,
No reason whatsoever. So I had to go up to the 6th, to go down to the 5th, then back up to 7th.
That's the kind of thing that's in Deadly Premonition as well.
Yeah, okay, it's in your favourite game of all time,
yeah,
so
but
I'm surprised you're so angry about it.
No, but the difference is that Shenmue came out about 20 years ago. This is not that old.
Oh, that does not, mate, that does not excuse that.
No, I'm not saying it's good.
Whatsoever.
I'm not saying it's good. It's just that the difference is this is a lot more recent, this game. And I know...
That does not excuse it. Like, that's not a technical flaw. That's not something to do with, the years that have passed between in terms of technology. It's terrible fucking... it's just awful.
Yeah, it's a design flaw. And it's the same
pissed me off
with
so
this
much
because
in a week.
The problem with Deadly Premonition in particular is all the combat stuff, which is atrocious. And as I understand it, as the people in the stream keep telling me, it's like the combat stuff wasn't originally in this game and it was kind of crowbarred in. And you can really feel that. Like, if this didn't have all of that, and it didn't have all the pointless wandering around, this would have been this game could have been over in, like, maybe 6 to 8 hours or so, and it would have been a cracker. Like, it really would have been good. But it's just the fact that it's been extended over about 16 to 20 hours or whatever, with just all this other pointless stuff, which is just, not so good. But anyway, so that's not so good. I mean, I've also played... I've been playing, like, LocoRoco as well, because... I'm in a bit of a weird space at the moment with playing games because I read a tweet by Darren the other day, which I kind of...
Darren.
Because
everyone's favourite.
Oh, Daz.
Darren.
Yeah, because I feel kind of in the same space at the moment where I don't really feel like playing much, like anything like really sort of like big or anything. And I said the other week, like I haven't gone back to Sekiro yet. I kind of feel like I've just bounced off that now. And I don't feel like getting into something like really, really deep or anything. So I started playing LocoRoco because it's one of those games I've owned for ages, but I only ever play like a few levels like at the beginning, and then I just kind of stop and don't bother going any further. But this time I've sort of I sat down and stuck with it and finished it because it's not very long at all, and it's great. It's have any of you played it at all?
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah.
No,
I think I finished it on the Vita. When it first came out, but I adored that game.
Yeah, brilliant game. It's got
just all the soundtrack's good, but just the opening theme, man.
Yeah,
so good.
Yeah, it's just got. Also, yeah. There's no irritation with it either, is there? It's just really relaxing to play. It's just...
the little shout they do when you break them up.
Yeah.
There's a bit of frustration in there, isn't there, when you lose a bunch of them or some shit?
Right at the end, I found the last level a bit irritating because it's. Like, I didn't feel the controls were that precise.
But yeah, no, you're right. It wasn't. The frustration of that game didn't really sort of overshadow anything, and it was barely in there, so it wasn't an issue.
And it's the remastered one as well, so it looks really nice on PS4.
Okay.
Like it looks really good. It was like
how much was it?
Like $3.99 because it was like in a sale.
Oh shit!
It was it was definitely worth. There's loads of those stuff. It's worth just putting on your wish list because then they put them on.
I'll tell you what, Isaac could love that, Sean.
Yeah, he would.
Sitting watching that.
It's great. And then the only other thing I played is Tetris 99, which I've been playing...
Oh my god, that's on my list.
Well, I've been playing that on and off, like, the last couple of days, really, and I feel that people have got a lot better at this now, and it's becoming even harder. Like, I can barely get into the top 10 now most times, and often I'm only just cracking, like, the top 20 or whatever, but it's still got that thing of like because each game is quite short, like it doesn't really take that long, although I found like the battles at the end where you've got like 2 or 3 people still going, that can go on for quite a long time now of like,
oh god, yeah,
and it's quite entertaining to watch, like, and like I was playing it and Chen was watching and she was getting into it, like watching like these 2 people, and she was like started to root for one of them. It was just like, that guy, I want him to win everything. It's pretty good. But how are you getting on with it, Dave? Have you found it any I know you're...
Yeah, not too bad actually. It's just like, there's obviously that tip. There was a top 10 tips that this website was given on how to, get number one in Tetris 99, and one of the tips was play when Japan's asleep.
Yeah.
Which you kind of understand. I see that side of things, and I've had to drastically change my tactics though. So my thing was always, until there was about 50 left, always stick on random, because that keeps you under the radar from the people that are trying to get badges, and it gets people that are attacking their attackers, and it's a good way to stay under the radar. But now you're right, things have ramped up a little bit more, and I think it's way more important to get badges now. So almost instantly I'm aiming for people to get badges, or going for KOs. Because when you aim for people, when you set your aim for KOs, then it's anyone that's quite high up on the table. You'll nick badges off them, basically. So you need to go into like the sort of last 50 with a few badges, if not just to sort of send your junk to someone else. It also means that you can clear junk a lot quicker. So yeah. It's quite important, and if there's more than 2 people attacking you, then set it to attackers, because you get a bonus for attacking them, and yeah, it helps a lot. But yeah, no, it's slightly harder, but I haven't noticed it getting insanely hard yet. And I mean, I've played it as recently as last week, and didn't have too much trouble with it.
I think maybe.
Have you got a number 1 yet?
No, I've got number 5. That's the highest I can get.
Oh mate!
I mean, I think also what you just said makes a lot of sense, because I played today around like midday, and everybody I was playing with was Japanese, and it was just it was ridiculous.
You just get absolutely hammered.
It was
absolutely hammered.
It was very difficult.
Do you know much about T-spinning?
Sorry, say that again.
Do you know much about T-spinning?
No, what is that? I don't know what.
Right, okay, just look it up. YouTube video will teach you what to do, but
really
it's a real easy way to clear junk without. Because the problem is with clearing. With clearing junk, it's you find that the best way of doing it is Tetris's, but then you haven't got much left to work with after that, and you've still probably got quite a few bits of junk left. Whereas T-spinning lets you clear a lot of junk without moving your wall down too much. It is quite important.
Okay.
But I'm still wrapping my head around and like looking for opportunities to do a T-spin. But it's a big help. But yeah, there's plenty of tutorials online and explaining it and what you need to do is how to set it up and stuff. So you've got to sort of just force yourself to work that into how you play, basically. But yeah, I mean, there are some amazing Japanese Tetris players. And they're certainly playing that game a lot.
Yeah, I really want to go back to that, because the best I ever got was like 4th or 5th, but now I feel like now it's past me and everyone's too good.
Yeah.
No. Just stick with it. Yeah. Just stick with it. You'll get the odd game. There'll always be games where you get knocked out really quickly. It is a lot like Battle Royale in that regard. Sometimes you just get wiped out straight away. But if you stick with it and really focus on what you should be doing and reacting to how the game's flowing, then yeah. I mean, this is my game of the year so far. This is the only game that I have been able to drum up any real sort of enthusiasm over a long period of time. It's Tetris 99 is absolutely incredible, and whenever I play it, I know I'm going to be sitting down for well over an hour in that session, because I fucking love it so much.
Yeah.
And these little special events they do every now and then. The last one they did was absolutely fantastic, where you got a certain amount of points. You got a certain amount of points depending on where you finish in a game, and then all those points add up, and every group of 100 points is a sort of raffle ticket, basically. And I think it was like 100 people in this country got a 999 gold coins on the Nintendo eShop,
Nice.
which works out to a tenner.
Yeah.
So it was I mean, what they do, the game is not. It's hard to really describe to people that aren't into Tetris or whatever, because on the surface level it is just Tetris. But it's how I enjoyed the Tetris effect for the Tetris, but not so much for the stuff around it.
Yeah.
This game's come out, and obviously I enjoyed the Tetris, but everything around it is so spot on as well that I mean, for me, it wipes the floor with that Tetris game, even though obviously you can't really compare them because they're going for two completely different things. But that game, man, it's so good. It really highlights as well how good it is to have separate buttons on your Joy-Con. because playing on the Pro Controller is near on impossible. That D-pad is not.
It's not great, is it? Yeah.
It's not. It's really surprising from Nintendo. The D-pad on that thing's not perfect, but separate buttons on the Joy-Con, man, it's just so good.
But it's always like whenever I fail, I just want to try again, like immediately, because it's just
absolutely,
that's the hook with it, which has been so good.
Yeah, you just hold down that A button again, don't you? And yeah, it's brilliant, utterly brilliant.
And that's it. That's all I've got. I've got nothing else.
Cool, Matt.
Yeah, so I've mostly been playing Days Gone this week. And obviously I spoke about it last week. I was only like an hour or 2 hours in last week, and it was pretty, it felt like a pretty unremarkable game. But I've actually strangely like flipped on that this week, and I'm actually really starting to enjoy the game. I mean, it's obviously it's still got problems, and we sort of covered them last week. But I'm actually really enjoying the environment. I think the environment looks fantastic, and I'm always interested when I ride for like a new like part of town to see what's there. And I've heard some people say like the core gameplay isn't fun, but the core gameplay loop I'm finding the best bit of the game. The core gameplay loop being I will get like a mission and I will like ride to that mission, and even riding to the missions I'm finding really fun. Although the game sort of feels like it doesn't want you to have fun. Like in any sort of game like this, you would think, okay, you got a motorbike, you're going across this big open world map. So you'll bomb it around the place, you'll like jump off, rocks, you'll smash through like zombies, but this game does not want you to do that at all. And at the beginning that can be quite annoying because so I'm thinking, okay, I'll just bomb down this massive hill. No, because you might damage your bike. Even if you like run into like a zombie, you damage your bike, and that's not good.
Right.
And if you if you jump off a cliff edge or whatever you can do, you fall from a bit of a height. That can also damage your bike.
Damage your bike.
So yeah, you damage your bike. But basically, there's a bit of a mechanic whereby if you jump off something, you need to make sure your wheels are parallel with the ground, and you sort of minimise damage. But all these things it's doing, it's basically stopping you doing the things you would ordinarily do. So now I basically just like coast around the environment. Which has its issues because you'll be going slowly through this wood or forest or whatever you're going through. You don't want too much noise because also noise can attract these freakers, and you can also upgrade your bike to have like a quieter exhaust to help that. But yeah, I'm basically like sort of freewheeling, like coasting, through these environments, and it's sort of nice actually. Like you can hear in the bike I've got at the moment, you can hear like what feels like nails in the engine. You can hear like the suspension creak and jump around as you go over rocks, and it's a much slower pace than I thought it would be. And in any game you think, okay, you got a motorbike, you just assume you'll be bombing from from checkpoint to checkpoint to like mission marker to mission marker, but this, because of like the fact you get damage for everything you do, it totally slows you down. And at the moment, at least, I'm really enjoying that. It's really nice. You like hearing like the environmental sounds. You'll be going like slowly through like a town, and you'll like. I'll be stopping to see if I hear any freakers, or if I'm going through like a wood at night. Because the bike's quiet enough, and at points I don't want to use any fuel, so I'm just like taking it slowly. It's nice, and then you might hear something and then you have to like speed up. But yeah, I'm never to the point where I'm like just absolutely bombing it through environments, because it feels like that that's just going in tears. So I'm
Matt,
really enjoying the environment. Sorry, James, do you want to say something?
Yeah, how is the petrol stuff? Is it sort of onerous, or is it okay?
That hasn't annoyed me at all. So you have like like a limited amount of petrol, and like the main place you can quick save wherever you want, but you have like this like main like hub at the moment, and there's like unlimited petrol there. But wherever you go, it be that on the way to a mission, or when you reach like a small like settlement, or like a petrol station, or any sort of place where there's like a mission you've gone to, there will be petrol tanks around the place. I haven't had to like get one mid mission. If I go to say this little town and I've got to like clear out these nests, and these nests are like these buildings where there's got loads of what looks like wood and like hay and stuff, where obviously like these freakers are building and living. There's often like a limited number of those in each of these little towns, and when you go into a town, it'll say if you want to complete a side mission, you've got to destroy 5 of these nests, and that basically means go up to a nest in this building, and then they're not shown on the map, so you really have to like explore the local area. Go there, throw a Molotov at this nest. Once you do that, it will burn, but a couple of enemies will pop out, and then you have to kill them, and that's that really. But for each of these areas, there's always going to be like petrol around the place, and I haven't had an issue really to fill up. I mean, I try to keep myself topped up to 100%. Sometimes I've done the mission and I've been like quite low on health, or it's been like I've almost died, or it's been quite a stressful experience. But after that, once the enemies are killed, maybe the cutscenes happened, I still have to then go and look for fuel. But it doesn't bother me. It hasn't bothered me yet. All the things that I'm enjoying in the moment, like such as upgrading like my bike, adding like skill points to my character, getting things like fuel. Taking it slowly so I don't want to damage my bike. At the moment, all these things are fine. I'm actually really enjoying the environment and sort of the mood it's setting. But these are all the things that apparently when you're like 30, 40, 50 hours in, it really does your head in. So at the moment at least, like I'm probably like 8 to 10 or so hours in. And so far I'm actually really enjoying the environment, really enjoying the mood it's sort of setting. I think the cutscenes are nice. I still think graphically it's really, really gorgeous. I mean, the characters aren't a lot to like get excited about. The story itself is pretty like simplistic at the moment, but yeah, regardless of whether like the mission is go to this place and basically you go to the place and there's a cutscene will happen. So you don't do a lot sometimes when you go to these locations. You just go there, trigger a cutscene, find out what's happening in the story, see how the story is progressing, and then go somewhere else. But whether it's one of them. Or maybe on the way to one of them, I'll clear out some like freaker nests or do some other little side missions. I'm really enjoying like the sort of the gameplay loop really. And actually, what I really like is I'll get a mission done, and maybe on the way to a mission or just after a mission, it'll say, "Oh, now there's this mission to do." So there's not that I haven't found many times where I've had to like do a mission and then I'm like, "Where do I go now?" Because the ones were like queued up for me, so it's quite good. And like, okay, I'll do one more mission. And I think it's really nice gameplay loop. At the moment, again, I hear a lot of these things do nothing when you're like 40 hours in and you just want to get the story finished. But so far I've really surprised myself. After last week's like 2 hours, I'm like, I don't know if I've really got the energy. I wanted to play through it because there wasn't a lot else coming out, but. Yeah, this week I played it loads, and like I wasn't able to play on one of the nights this week, and I really wish I was playing like Days Gone, which is something I didn't think I'd be saying to myself the week before last. But yeah, I mean, I've always loved these sort of apocalyptic end of the world sort of games. Obviously, I love things like Last of Us, but Last of Us is an absolute masterpiece, so it would be obvious that I would like that. But this definitely makes me feel similar things in just literally the fact it's like an apocalyptic game with zombies and it's really good looking. It just makes me more excited for Last of Us 2. But yeah, I'm surprisingly enjoying it quite a lot actually. I know no one I've read have said it's like a terrible game. They just say it's just a 6 or 7 out of 10. And so far
that's
probably
what I've
about
heard.
right. But I'm definitely enjoying what I'm playing so far.
So Matt, because you've been playing this since it first came out, yeah? And so you mentioned there's been
the
like
first
a whole
weekend, I guess.
You mentioned there's been a whole load of patches. Have you noticed like a difference, like in the like
no, not massively. I mean, there's been 7 patches since it came out, and a lot of people say, "Well, it's really bad." But apparently, God of War had the same amount in its first week. But I will say I haven't had any like major bugs at all. I've had like an instance where I saw like one of the freakers was sort of floating. I did have one actually where I was going through a dark tunnel, and there are these like dark sort of tunnels as you go through, which has like loads of cars, and maybe you have to like get off your bike and move a car to clear space through this tunnel. With lots of like burnt out vehicles and whatnot in there, but there was a space in this one, and I was going through. I was actually going a bit faster than I would normally because there wasn't any chance of me doing damage with like jumping off a cliff edge or whatever. And I was going through this tunnel and I'd just explode out of nowhere, just like there'd be a massive fireball and I'd be dead. And I couldn't work out what happened. And when I went through again, it turned out there was actually a car in the way, but it hadn't loaded properly. And then when I went through slowly, that car suddenly in the last second loaded in front of me. And so the first time I was like, oh, well, brilliant. There's like a totally empty tunnel I can go through now. But it's like, kablam! And I died and everything blew up. But
see, I'm
that's
really
been the only
tempted
thing
to
I've
play
had,
this.
really.
Because it just, I don't know, I'm tempted by this actually at the moment. Just because, like you, I've got a thing at the moment for these like post-apocalyptic stuff. I kind of feel like I want to play one. And,
It definitely does feel old school in just a lot of stuff it does. I mean, there's like the AI isn't great of like the freaker enemies, and it just feels quite old school of like the various different types of freaker, and I don't know. It's hard to sort of really quantify why, but it does feel like it's from like 5 years ago, which is, I mean, it's been a fairly long development, but no, so far so good. I'm really enjoying it, and James is on my account, so you can play it when I'm not playing it.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, no.
There's definitely that thing. There's definitely that thing of, if it is a 6 out of 10 game, a 10-hour 6 out of 10 game is fine, but a 40-hour 6 out of 10 game is that.
Yeah.
Is that going to drag you down a little bit more?
All these things that I'm enjoying at the moment are things that people said, it's just so annoying when you want to do a mission and you're 50 hours in and you've got to like get petrol. At the moment, it's quite nice. I'm actually really enjoying like just exploring the environment. It feels, I'm going to make a comparison here. It feels Red Dead-y in a way that is like a massive environment and it's just you and like the bike, as opposed to you and the horse. And it uses musical cues. It nothing like Red Dead, but like sometimes the music will just happen. I'm like, is it trying to do a Red Dead thing? I don't know. But no, I'm enjoying like exploring the map. It's not a massive map, but there are like snowy bits and desert bits, so it tries to convey quite a large distance. But I'm really enjoying it so far, surprisingly so.
Cool.
Talk about James, you should play, James. I'll be interested to see what you think.
Yeah, I would like to.
Cool.
Is that it? Did you want to talk about Bloodborne?
Yeah, it's just that
again,
Bloodborne and a bit of Portia still, because, obviously.
Cool. Dave, what have you got?
Okay, so I've got a few games. I'll whip through a few early on. All right, we've spoken about Tetris 99. I've played Rocket League a lot. The new challenge system was introduced last week, and I love it. The new stuff that, like the loot, if you want to call it that, which is, your prizes for doing challenges and leveling up and stuff, is actually really good. I mean, anyone that's played Rocket League, if you score a goal in that, like the amount of fireworks and lasers that come out of the goal as the ball explodes is absolutely brilliant. But I've now unlocked a goal celebration where the ball crosses the line and it just goes... It's like just a little puff of smoke. It's the funniest thing ever. That game continues to be absolutely insanely good. I wanted to mention this actually because I played through Ape Out, which was a game that you were all pretty positive about at the time, and you said on the show, David wasn't. David's probably been the only person that I haven't heard be positive about it, and so I just wanted to quickly explain why. It's a weird one. I went into it thinking this is absolutely insanely brilliant. Like that first group of levels, I thought this is so good. I can't wait to see where it goes. And for me, it didn't go anywhere. It's just the levels got filled with more enemies every time. There was no change to the mechanics. It didn't try to do anything interesting with the setting or the... it didn't do anything interesting at all, really. It just made it harder with more enemies every time. And I just thought, it's such a shame. Like, I didn't hate it. I just got to a point where I just thought, this is really disappointing because, like, not even the music really changed. Like, the incredible way that the sort of music forms around what you're doing is done really well. But then it doesn't change it at all. It's still the same throughout all the levels.
I guess my issue in the music, it just sort of stays on top. It doesn't really... you change your music in as much like you hear like cymbals and this and the other like smashing, but it doesn't really change anything. It's just a nice thing for the background, I guess.
But like it's like it's the same crashes and smash and the drums in the background. It's not exactly the same, but it's way too similar per level. You know what I mean? I was thinking, so what is it doing to take this initial idea and expand on it? And the answer for me was nothing. It just chucks more enemies at you.
See, that would have been better as well. I mean, I do agree with you about that, especially because it's presented as being like different albums, isn't it? Like, as in like... So if they'd have had like a slightly different style for each album, that would have been better probably for like music.
That would have been more interesting. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't have made me feel... I would have understood it a little bit more, I guess. But for this, everything I was doing was the same on every level, but it just had more enemies, and that's why I was surprised to see it get such high praise from so many outlets, because I thought I'm just really surprised that there's no one picking up on the fact that it doesn't really. I mean, the initial idea is absolutely fantastic, but it wasn't enough to drag it through the 4 or 5 albums that game's got.
Did you do the extra levels as well? Because that was when I was
I did Break-In, and it was it was alright.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess I was expecting more, but again, it felt so similar to everything else that I'd done that I wasn't I wasn't totally blown away with it, to be honest. But that's my reasons why. I've played one level of World War Z. World War Z. I played one level of World War Z, and I absolutely adored it. I just haven't got round to playing any more of it. Oh God, yeah. Have you played any of it, Sean?
No, I know almost nothing about it. It's just presumably it's based on it was a book and then a film, right?
It's not really based on that at all. It's the sort of Left 4 Dead rip-off game.
All right. Which, I mean, it's been long enough that, I'll take a rip-off at this point.
Yeah, it's essentially, but the interesting thing is it's third person.
Okay.
And it's more focused on hordes rather than it is, it's ridiculous. I mean, the game, the level we did was not challenging in any way whatsoever, but it had a wow factor, which I love in games. You know, there's always got to be something where you're like, whoa, what the fuck? And for this, it was the amount of enemies on screen was just insane.
Yeah.
Like, there was one part of the level where they were doing that thing from the film where they were all forming some pyramid, not through, any coordination, but because there's hundreds and hundreds of enemies trying to climb and get you. Yeah. There was another bit where you're firing at a fence and they're trying to climb over the fence, and you just see enemies just dropping from everywhere. I mean, I did I not send you that clip of the bit
you
that we
did?
Were playing?
Yeah, now that you mention it, yeah.
And it's just like, whoa, this is insane. And the shooting feels great and everything. So I'm keen to play more of that. It's just finding the time to do so and finding teammates and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I see the Left 4 Dead comparisons. They don't feel like it's got the quality of that game, but it's got the wow factor in that it will blow you away with the amount of enemies on screen. I think when that starts to drop in price or ends up on one of these services, I think a lot of people will play it and actually find it to be well worth the time.
I think because I've bought a new graphics card for the PC, I think I get a free copy of it.
Right,
so
okay,
I'll
definitely find someone to play with because, I think it's well worth your time. I've been playing a game called Toreba. Has anyone heard this?
No, was it?
No.
Okay, it's probably going to end my marriage, Sean.
Okay.
I just looked it up.
It's an iPhone game. Yeah. I think you could play it in a browser as well. And I saw it as a Facebook advert, and it said, "Hey, get 5 free plays if you get this app now." So I did that, and I was thinking, if it starts asking me for details like my email address or anything like that, then I am not going to sign up to this thing because I do not trust anything like this anymore. Yeah. But it doesn't. It asks you for a username, and then that's it. You get your 5 free plays. It is a crane machine game, right? Where it has real crane machines in a warehouse somewhere, and you log into that crane machine and control it. And if you win a prize, they send it to your house.
Fuck. Okay.
Yep. And it is absolute. I mean, so I did my 5 free goes. I've not spent any money on it because obviously I think you pay £1 for 5 goes or something, so it's not cheap. But that's the sort of thing it is. I just seeing the real crane machine on this screen in front of you and then controlling the arm is just, oh my God. I was like, I'm going to be sick because I can really see myself just saying like, what do you want for Christmas, David? Just Apple Pay, just an Apple credit, please, and then just spending the rest of the year on a crane machine. I mean, Matt is well aware of my addiction to those things.
Yeah, but I've just gone on the App Store to find it. But there are loads of others. So have you downloaded the other ones?
There are loads of other ones, but that Toreba seems to be the most popular one. I do get that one basically.
Game
you get your 5 free plays. You don't have to give too much information over. But the other thing you could do is just watch people play as well, which is insanely addictive. So I've been doing a lot of that this week. But yeah, I mean, I don't really want to recommend it to people because I could see people losing their lives to this thing. And oh god, it's so horrible as well. Like the advertising campaign just is sickening. The amount of videos I've watched of people playing it on YouTube, 40-minute long videos of YouTubers playing on this thing, and then at the end of it going, like, I'm winning loads of shit, and then at the end of it going, thanks Toreba for letting us play your game, and I'm just like, fuck.
I mean, what sort of prizes are we talking? Is it
machines
iPhones or key rings or?
No, it's all shit.
Okay.
It's like plushies and all that sort of stuff. But who cares? But yeah, we all know that crane machines are rigged anyway. You don't need to then fucking rig the marketing as well. So yeah, everything about it is underhand. But I've been playing it, and yeah, fuck, it's I might just stick a couple of quid in, just to
That's how it starts.
I think I might do. I'm thinking about it, but yeah. So that was Toreba, and for some bizarre reason, Chet and I have decided to play through every single Halo game on the heroic setting. In co-op, and that is something that Microsoft should shout about a little bit more. But that Master Chief Collection is pretty special. It's pretty special. There's still people playing the online stuff, and we've been doing that as well. That's pretty good. But god damn, going through. I mean, Halo 1, like you pick up a lot of things going back to that game at this point. I'm not putting the game down at all. Obviously, it was absolutely revolutionary or whatever, but the repetition in that first game is quite stunning. Everyone remembers certain levels. The second level, the other one that was where you landed on a beach or whatever, and then you have, all that stuff. People remember, and they're right to remember those levels because they're brilliant. But the levels that people don't mention are the ones where you're going into the same. Like they're like buildings. You go into the same building over and over again, and they all look identical, and all that sort of stuff. And of course, that's of its time. It's just the way the games are back then. But it's really surprising when you go back and play through it, start to finish again. And so we're halfway through Halo 2 at the moment, and that's got way more variety in it. And it's actually a massive step up from Halo 1. You don't realise like how much work they did with things like vehicles and stuff like that. It is a huge improvement, but it does lack that sort of I felt it at the time as well. When they removed the elites and replaced them with brutes and stuff, it felt like half of the tactical gameplay
weird
gone.
Decision that.
Yeah, and playing on heroic is really tough as well in that game because they vastly reduce the amount of health you get, like the amount of times you could get hit in Halo 2. And fuck me, I mean, the second level took us ages because they're really long levels as well. And we were getting killed constantly. So, but yeah, I mean that if you've got an Xbox One, man, like, and especially with Game Pass, you get that. You've got all those Halo games, and it's been really good fun going through them again. They still hold up to some extent, even though there's a lot of things that you'll go back to and think, fucking hell, we've moved on from this, haven't we? Like the speed of the walking, there's no run button in those early Halo games, and the speed of it is so slow.
I'm still just like devastated from that first weekend when we were so pumped to get it, and it was such a broken mess. But because the idea of all of them being on there, and like I would love to play Reach again, when that appears on there.
The multiplayer is fascinating as well because you can play mixed bag, which then just. Like 1 minute you're playing Halo 3, then Halo 1, and then so it just loads the next multiplayer game, and it's a different Halo completely and stuff like that, and that's brilliant. But what's fascinating is that one game you'll just go into and it's just pointless because you'll spawn and you get sniped, and then it's people that have only played Halo forever. But then you'll get a game that's really close, and those games are just as good as they were back then. When you find a team that's sort of on your level, that nothing. Not many games have come close to how good that game feels in multiplayer. It's still really, really good. So yeah, that's it. That's it from me.
Cool. It is getting quite late, Matt.
It is.
Do you want to read some emails out?
That's James.
Oh fuck! Sorry,
if you're still around.
Thanks, Sean. Okay. If you want to email us, it's podcast@thecomputergameshow.com. Thomas at LlamaFluff42 has emailed us. He says, last week I tweeted in with a suggestion of a Computer Game Show best-of compilation to mark the milestone of 150 episodes. I don't doubt that it would be a formidable task to pull together the best moments from the show, particularly when you all seem to have flashed by the MIB memory eraser and can't recall much beyond the Game of the Year shows. That's understandable, you are stressed out dads. However, we, the fans, listeners, can help. We're more readily be able to identify our favourite moments, and are probably happy to revisit old episodes to find them. Why don't we send in our suggestions, including episodes and times, to help build a complication? I think it's collection of solid gold. I regularly visit episode 48, Planet, just to hear the Luigi decapitation story, the first unveiling of the backpack song, and the hilarity over the Mass Effect facial animations. It's just a thought, but I'm hoping your content-obsessed CEO is all over this idea. Keep up the amazing work, etc. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Your fans' favourite episode would be fantastic.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
Obviously, yeah, we need your help with that. That makes things so much easier.
We need a good way of compiling all the suggestions, don't we? Because if people just stick it in the Discord or Twitter mentions, then we'll just lose it over time. Maybe if we had a Google Doc that was set public and people could just post like timestamps, like episode numbers and timestamps and stuff.
Yeah, we could do it, definitely, yeah.
That might work.
Yeah, because our memories and my memory is just so bad for this stuff. There's probably so much we missed. But yeah, I can easily set up like a Google sheet and make it public and get people to add to it for sure.
Cool.
And then and then we'll get it edited together. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Mike Petit at Biss Toad says, with the recent anniversary updates to Sea of Thieves, giving the game a serviceable single-player quest alongside a host of other improvements, are any of you tempted to give it another crack? I know you all bounced off it on release, but Rare have been steadily improving the game over the last year, and it's turned into one of my favourite exclusives of the generation, especially in multiplayer. It'd also be a belter for a stream, perhaps with a certain Mr. Gargett showing you the ropes if he or she or you, or whatever, be up for it. I'm really tired.
All right, James.
Yeah, I'm just really tired. Come on, it's like 11:45. This is returned to this nonsense again, and it's just really like, so yeah. I don't ever want to play Sea of Thieves again. But what do you guys think?
Why?
I'm well up for going back.
Yeah, but why wouldn't you, James? If it's good
James?
now,
I just don't care. I've got no time anyway, and it's like I don't really want to play a game that is average at best, from what I've heard from most people.
But they've added loads of stuff.
Whoa. You've just said that you were interested in playing Days Gone.
It's a totally different kind of game.
No. I haven't got time to play a game that supposedly averages better best.
Yes, but that's a multiplayer like focus game that I've already played, and I know that
But they've added a whole single player thing.
Great. Okay, all right. Let's do it. Come on. Then let's all play Sea of Thieves. Let's all play it. Come on. When should we play?
Well, I'm glad that's arranged.
But I'm actually really up for that. That doesn't work as like a sarcastic joke because
it doesn't, does it? I mean, I was about to say that I'd be well up for trying it again if I had a group of my mates that my usual crew. If they wanted to play it again, I would definitely download and play it again. But
Sean, could you play it with us on the PC? You could, right?
Yep. Yeah.
You totally could.
Yeah, I'll be well up for that. I've also heard it's good now, and there's plenty of fun stuff in there. But
well, why don't we do a stream then? And I'm being serious about that because it's on Game Pass or whatever, isn't it?
Yeah. Home of mediocrity.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah, no, I'd be really up for streaming that. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay, Paul has emailed. He says, as a time...
James has just realised he's agreed to play Sea of Thieves. It's just hit home. How has that happened? He's going to wake up tomorrow absolutely gutted. Did I last night?
Yeah, like, what did I do last night?
I mean, James, it is late. Feel free to edit.
I'm not allowed, though, am I? Because Matt gets all annoyed if I don't read out the entire thing.
You can do what you want, James.
No, I can't, because then you start making sarcastic comments later on. Anyway, Paul has emailed in. He says, as a time-poor father of two, I've only just managed to finish the story for Red Dead Redemption 2, but wanted to share some thoughts, having so enjoyed listening to the team discuss the game in the past. Red Dead Redemption is one of my favourite games of all time, so I was incredibly looking forward to playing the prequel. However, strange design choices and an overlong, repetitive story mar the wonderful characterisation of Arthur in what is a visually stunning recreation of the...
Cut this one. If we're editing them, cut this one.
You would just cut it, yeah?
Cut this one out.
Yeah.
Yeah, just get rid of it.
That was sort of what I was getting at, but yeah.
No, I'm joking. I'm literally joking because he's slagging off the best game ever.
Am I finishing reading it, or what?
Yeah, finishing it. I was joking.
Okay. However, where did I get to? Okay, I can't remember who it was on the pod who mentioned last gen mission structure. That was Matt. But I absolutely agree. I still like the game and I'm glad to have played it, but this recent essay on Polygon does a good job of summing up how I feel. It's a long read and I don't agree with it all. The criticism of the controls is overplayed, but it includes a possible alternative story arc that would have seen the game begin with Arthur, Dutch and the gang at the height of their powers, thus making the decline and betrayal all the more powerful. I'd like to have played that. I wonder whether any of you, with the benefit of hindsight, would agree that Red Dead Redemption 2 isn't the masterpiece we originally thought and hoped for, and if it is possible that the hype for the game and Rockstar's reputation meant people were too ready to overlook its clear flaws. I suspect the answer is no, but I also wonder if it will turn out to be one of those games where time and distance see it being critically re-evaluated in years' time. I totally have a completely different opinion to that, but what do you think?
Okay, I was going to say, I'm pretty sure I was aware of the flaws at the time. I don't feel like I've revisited it and gone, hang on a minute,
See, to me,
it was always a bit of a mixed bag, but overall, I had really positive feelings towards it. There were certainly things that in a lesser game would have really pissed me off. As you say, the missions are really you turn up and shoot a load of people every time almost. And, especially in the final sort of act of the game, there's a lot of just traipsing around the map. But I feel like we all acknowledged that stuff at the time. I don't feel like it's been a sort of retrospective, oh, hang on a minute. Do you know what I mean?
I don't think so either, because I felt... I mean, I didn't play it when it immediately came out that much anyway. I came back to it later.
True, yeah.
And it felt like about 2 weeks, a week or 2 weeks after it had come out, everyone was slagging it off. And saying, oh, this is terrible, it's really boring and all that kind of thing. It feels like everyone was saying that, and that seems to... I don't think this is criticism of it is anything new. It feels like it's always kind of been like that. But I don't know, I mean, I don't agree with the idea of them being at the height of their powers either, because I thought one of the things that was really nice about the game was the fact that it starts off with them at that low point and then you end on that point as well. It you get this sort of the up and the down of the whole thing. It was and the way, but then no, I can't say any more because it will ruin the story. But it's What do you think, Dave?
I think it was one of the best games I've ever played. And I stand by that. So, I mean, no amount of time is going to make me suddenly go, I didn't really like it that much. I did. I absolutely adored that game. And I'm going through a slow burn second playthrough, like I have been since Christmas. And I will complete it again. It just take me ages, because every now and then I'll just stick it on and just remember how much I adore that game.
See, and also that Polygon article, he's right. There is a lot. I mean, there are some sort of valid stuff in there as well. And he's right. The stuff about the controls is ridiculous because I mean, I don't remember after I played it probably for about 5 hours or stuff. I don't remember. I didn't remember making any mistakes in terms of controlling the game.
No, you get used to them.
Yeah, it's
you adapt. That's what you have to do in some games. And
I mean, you can say
I still would love to get a clip of you at the Game of the Year show where you were just going, "No, they're terrible. They're the worst controls ever."
They could be better than they were, but they weren't to the point where it made the game completely unplayable, where you'd never want to play it again. Do you know what I mean? This is the thing with it.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah, absolutely. I mean, my love for that game only increased as I played it, and it's definitely one of the best games I've ever played. With some issues like it's covered. I still think the mission structure needs to change, and the controls aren't great, but get used to them. And the characters.
What does it need to change to?
I don't know. Something else isn't just go here, shoot them, come back. I don't think that's moved on much.
I mean, there were so many missions in that game that wasn't
so you're saying the missions were actually midway through going somewhere to killing someone, you then go somewhere else to kill someone else and come back to the mission. I don't think the missions... We've been over this, but I feel like...
Matt, there's missions in that game where you go to kill someone and end up in the doctors hearing some of the most craziest news. I mean,
yeah, but it's still
there's loads of that stuff.
I just feel like the missions weren't inspired, but fundamentally it doesn't matter because the story they're wrapped up in and the characters were just one of the best things I've ever played, and it's worth. I think if we're really picky, those things could be improved, obviously, but it doesn't matter because it didn't sell. It was an absolutely stunning game. Right, okay. Let's go on to tweets.
Good.
It's at Computer Game Pod on Twitter if you want to tweet us. I'm going to chuck this one in at the beginning. This is Mark Christie. The TCGS Division 2 Xbox clan is floundering with 7 to 8. That's not 78, that's 7 to 8 members, with only 4 of us playing with any regularity. Any chance we can get a mention of this on the show to recruit more members? I'm thinking ahead to the release of the 8-player raid and how good it would be to get 8 clan members together. I appreciate it's not the most popular game of this type. Destiny 2 still holds that mantle and gets a weekly mention. And also the clan situation isn't helped by playing on Xbox rather than PlayStation 4. But if anyone listening to this right now is playing on Xbox and you haven't joined the Xbox clan, please join because that raid isn't too far away, I don't think. And with 8 members on there, it'll be awesome. Anyway, I'll squeeze that in. Kurt Lewin at angry_Kurt. It seems obvious that some games will be cross-generation going into next gen, but with next gen being backwards compatible, do you think the PS4 disc will be raised up on the PS5, or do you think we'll have to buy the PS5 version again to get the PS5 experience? Also, do you think we'll have to buy the PS5 version to get the PS5 experience?
No, I think it'll be just like it is with Xbox One X, where it's just the same thing, but it just gets improved a bit or whatever.
Yeah, because I don't think I know they mentioned 8K, but that isn't going to be a thing for a while. And yeah, it will just be like, oh, this is now guaranteed 4K or native 4K or guaranteed 60 frames. I think that's it. Really.
Yeah, I don't think they'd get away with it.
I mean, I know they're going to try.
I mean, they've got to see how well Microsoft have done it. You know, they again, you know, as we said, it looks like they're pushing for the service rather than selling consoles. And, you know, all that stuff they've done with backwards compatible games and all that sort of stuff is just building that trust with the consumer that, hey, do you remember when you bought this game? Well, you can still play it on your new system and stuff. It's just building, you know, it reminds me of the App Store. When you got your new iPhone or whatever, and you just downloaded all the apps that you bought on your previous one. You know, it's just... They're building trusting consumers with their service at the moment, and that's where they're heading, and it's working. So for Sony to ignore that would be just, I mean, it'd be criminal, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but then obviously when it's probably a little bit different. But when PS4 came out, we had the games like Assassin's Creed, was it Black Flag, that was sort of cross. It sort of straddled both generations, didn't it? And if you bought the PS3 version, you could pay like some extra money to upgrade to the PS4 version, couldn't you? So I wonder if they'll do something similar whereby games that come out now, you can pay some extra money and upgrade them to the PS5 version.
They should not do that.
No, but I can... and also, there's also talk about things like Death Stranding. Will that be on PS4? Will that be PS5? And the way people are talking, it's not like, well, you'll just buy the PS4 version and it'll be upscaled on PS5. They're talking like it'll be released on both.
I wonder if that get mentioned this week.
What, Death Stranding? Yeah, I mean, like, Kojima said, like last week or the week before, that we're going to see a new trailer soon, and he's taking pictures of him clearly cutting a trailer together. I don't know.
Right. Okay. So that's that.
Right. I don't know. I mean, it's state of play. We've only seen one.
We'll see that Thursday.
Whether that's going to be the place for exclusive trailers or not, as in like really big stuff.
Oh, I'd imagine that's exactly where they'll want that.
I guess.
They want it. They want it to be the new Direct, right?
Yeah.
So they'll want people watching every time they announce it, and you know what better way than to whack up a exclusive trailer like that?
I do really want to see more Death Stranding, so hopefully that's the case.
Do you remember that trailer that they showed where it was just walking across environments? It was so weird.
With all the oil and stuff on the ground on the beach. That one.
No, that was the first ever trailer. No, they did essentially a gameplay trailer. I can't remember, was it at E3? I think it was at E3, where it was just the main character, just walking across the environment. It's really odd.
And then pulling his knackered toenails out and then carrying on and just... yeah, really weird.
It's just really strange.
Yeah.
Okay, it's SNW. There was a drill tweet a few years ago saying move every GameStop to the... Actually, it might have been like the other week, but anyway. A drill saying move every GameStop to the peak of K2 and you'll find out damn quick who the real gamers are. Inspired by that tweet, what's the most extra mile thing you've ever done for gaming and what limitations would it take for you to give up on gaming altogether?
Most extra mile thing I've done for gaming?
Yeah, it's a weird thing. I mean, like, if I think... My first thing is importing Rock Band... for 150 or whatever quid, like a few years ago from Japan. But like, that's not, I mean, and obviously that was then. That doesn't feel like such a massive thing these days, and I don't really go the extra mile.
Yeah.
Even if importing was even the extra mile back then.
Well, mine was lugging my TV onto a train to take to a friend's to play Halo LAN parties.
Oh, yeah, I did that.
I mean, all that stuff. I mean, imagine doing that now. Do you want to come down and play a game together? Yeah, no problem. Can you bring your telly? Well, no. I mean, let's play on Xbox Live or something.
Definitely not doing
that. That was madness.
How about
like, doing all that stuff?
Spending hundreds, possibly thousands of hours of the only life I'll ever have voluntarily producing entertainment around video games.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
that's pretty extreme.
Yeah, that's pretty insane when you think about it. I used to. I mean, this isn't really a huge one, but the thought of doing it absolutely goes through me now. I used to have a swap tool for my PS2. Do you guys ever dabble with this?
What was it?
So basically, it was the whole thing. Like with the PS1, you could put in, if you wanted to play a copied game, you would put in a legit one first, and then you'd have to like swap the disc, but using a weird. There's like a technique so it wouldn't know that the disc tray was open or whatever.
Yeah,
it wouldn't know you'd swap the disc. PS2, yeah. So you could play copied games, and you would put in like the swap tool disc first, and then so you have to take off the front panel of the disc drive on the PS2, and then literally you put the disc in, load it up, and it's like, right, okay, swap the disc, and then you'd have this little bit of plastic that you shoved into the disc tray, slid it to one side, and then yanked it out, swapped the disc, pushed it back in, or like really like clearly fighting the motor that made the disc drive come in and out. And then you put your copy game in, and that was how that worked. And in hindsight, it's just like, oh my god, why wasn't I worried about breaking it every single time I did that?
When you say
horrific
copy
thing to do.
You meant imports, yeah, not.
Sorry, I mean legally purchased imports.
Yeah, that just didn't work on the thing, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that's mad. But you wanted that free game, innit? So
also, I mean, I sent my original Xbox off to Ireland to be chipped, and then sent back again.
What? I wonder if it was by the same guy. Was it
was
Yoda?
Yoda, yeah.
Yeah, he did mine.
Yeah. Did a good fucking
Yoda
job,
box.
man. That was that Xbox was like, because he just stuffed it full of emulators and ROMs and stuff as well. I mean, legal backups, and
going down Blockbusters was a treat. Yeah, I'll rent this game and to the hard drive.
It to the thing,
I've still got mine. I found mine in the loft. The only problem is I can't find the wires, the power wires.
And they were all weird proprietary ones, weren't they? Like the video cable was.
They were. You can get them. I think they're like 20 quid on Amazon, like sort of third party ones. But 20 quid. I don't know. But I would like to see what was on that hard drive because. Jesus.
I got my Dreamcast chip to play like Japanese and American games, but that's the only like chipping I've actually done to a console.
Did you have to? Because I know the Dreamcast could play pirated games, no bother, but was it still weird about region stuff?
Yeah, there was that Bleem Dreamcast disc which sort of helped in some regards. I had my chip to play. Well, I played like Japanese version of Shenmue and stuff, and like for our FIFA 5 challenge.
Now you mention that, I do remember the GameCube. Like I played Resident Evil 4 around a friend's house, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm going to buy this," and he was like, "You can't buy this; it's not out in over here yet." well, how are you playing this? Well, you've got to import the game, then get this disc.
Yeah.
It was like the swap thing, but
that was by Daytel.
A little bit more legal.
It was similar to Action Replay, and it was because I got that disc to play the Animal Crossing. Like that was the first version of Animal Crossing I played was on GameCube because it never came out. It wasn't going to come out on the GameCube in
That's
UK.
right. Yeah. I imported it from Australia.
But I forgot what the name of that disc was because I know exactly what you're talking about. But it had
region. I've got it. I literally think it's by my bed.
It was like a Region 3
Joe just
disc.
dumped a load of old.
I've completely what it's
discs.
called. Because it was.
Hang on. So where did you get Animal Crossing from then? Because I got it from Australia and there was no messing. It was the same. It was considered the same region.
I imported mine from Canada. Because it was cheaper from there, and you could
I got one from a store in Middlesbrough, and it came with its own Animal Crossing memory card thing, and it was awesome. It had a little sticker on it. I assume that was a UK version, but maybe it wasn't. Who knows?
That's what it was. It was the freeloader. It was called the freeloader.
Freeloader. That's it. Yeah.
Because it was rumoured for ages.
We weren't doing anything dodgy really, other than just getting around the region stuff. But that really does sound dodgy. Like a dodgy enough. A freeloader, please. Yeah, no, that I went to that extent. But I don't think there's much that would get in the way of me if I really, really wanted to play something. I mean, buying a PC, other than that. That's probably the barrier.
I remember spending hours doing that with PCs. I remember I had a 486 that was nowhere near powerful enough to play anything. And I spent ages just, configuring stuff and all that kind of thing to try and get it to play stuff.
I mean, I remember trying to install Windows onto my Mac to play PUBG, and I was like, this really is not worth it. I almost destroyed my Mac.
And those were the days of boot camp where it was easier.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, terribly, the question of, what would be severe enough to stop you playing games? The first place my mind goes is some sort of injury or loss of use of one of my senses or whatever.
That wouldn't stop me.
Well,
mate.
this is the thing. Actually, that's a really shitty thing to say because there are loads of really inspiring examples of people overcoming those things and still playing games anyway. So that's really not a. I mean, obviously, it's a hindrance, but people find ways around it. So
your mind went there, and my mind went if the internet cuts out. If I internet, there goes my day one patches. There goes everything.
It would be a bummer, if me and all my mates sort of broke up. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, I haven't got a group of mates to play these games with that I do every single night. So
sure, you'll find new friends.
Yeah, I guess.
Nope.
Not at this age.
No, you get that stage.
I was saying to Joe, I think I've met and befriended everyone.
Come on.
I think I've done. I think I'm done. I don't want to meet new people or befriend anyone else. I think I'm totally done with that now.
I know what you mean. I had a couple of years back. I was like, "Oh, these are the mates that'll probably be at my funeral."
Yeah.
This is pretty much it now. I think
it takes the pressure off because, you don't want to be liked that much anymore because you don't need to be. So it's
I know what you mean.
This is an awful thing to say, but it's true. I just think I'm done with everyone.
It was it's different, but on Twitter, I don't follow anyone new on Twitter anymore, and I feel like my mindset used to be oh yeah, but what about all the potential friendships you're missing out on by having that sort of attitude? And now I'm just no, I don't care. Sorry,
I have completely stopped checking who follows me. And how many people, my follow count, all that sort of stuff, completely.
Yeah, I'm just look, I don't follow loads of people that I genuinely like. I just don't need to see what they're saying on Twitter. And equally, if you want to unfollow me, go ahead. It's not a measure of anything anymore. I don't care.
My follower list now, Sean, is just Millwall players. That's pretty much it. And it's great because, I'm going to have to change that if I come back to the show properly because you don't get a fair assessment of people's reaction. I think that is important when you're doing something like this show. But right now, all that's happening on my Twitter feed is just players going, not a great season, but we push on next season. Inane shit. It's great. I love it.
I think James has died. We should probably wrap this
I'm
up.
gonna squeeze on a couple. I'm not gonna do it.
Come on, Matt.
Is James
Come on,
gone?
no, I'm still here. It's just I'm looking at this. There's a list of about 16 tweets or whatever.
I'm not gonna do all
ridiculous.
these, James. Pipe down.
It's funny because you were tweeting the other week, the world's drying up. Please tweet us in questions. Old Dave's back. Rammed. Can't move for questions this week. Can't move
Yeah,
for
but also
questions.
we've started
What does that
later,
tell you?
haven't we, Dave? That's the other the other issue.
Well, I mean, yeah, I could be blamed for an hour of that, but then there was half an hour of you downloading Audacity, Sean. So let's not, glass houses.
Can I just get on with these before
Glass
James
houses.
falls asleep? Shawnee Boy on Twitter. Seems Dave has the dirt on James. He should choose which games James streams next. Thoughts? What would you get James to... James, are you deleting shit on this doc?
Yeah.
Why? We're saving for next...
Is this how we do the editing now?
We're saving for next week, James.
So we've gone from I can't not read things out on my section because I'll get shouted at to deleting stuff in someone else's section.
Yeah. Basically, I mean, look,
Okay.
a couple of these, they've already had emails so they don't get two.
James, we're saving them for next week. Don't delete them. Undo that stuff.
James, you're the best.
Just get on reading, Matt. Go on.
What would I get him to play? I don't know. Probably Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball. So people could just see his face while he's playing it. I bet. You know what I mean? Like he's trying to hide the fact that he's sexually aroused. I'd watch that. You'd watch that, wouldn't you,
I
Matt?
don't want to watch James be sexually aroused on camera. Not
I know
again.
you'd be watching him trying to hide it. That's different.
Yeah, totally. It would, that would be good. But no, I'd never hold that over him. I'm not. Well, I will. That's a lie. But I wouldn't tell him what to stream. I mean, in terms of my streaming and James's streaming, he's way better than I am. So I'm just going to stay away from that. I'm not going to tell him what to stream. Yeah, he can stream what he wants. It's always gold.
Well, yeah.
All right, take a compliment, James.
It's
Fucking
been
hell.
awful. I've been really ashamed of those, to be honest.
All right.
Right, we're gonna
Better
call
than
that
me.
a night, and we'll do some others next week. Sorry about that, but James is falling to bits.
Blame
James,
James.
undo what you deleted as well.
No.
Maybe is this the new thing where it's like, tell you what, we'll read these out on the Patreon only show.
Oh God, no, we're not doing that. Also, James, did you hear Matt then? Because I think he is genuinely pissed off.
I know
with
he
you.
is, yeah.
Well, people take time.
He does not give a shit. Born to be wild.
We'll maybe cover this next week.
James, you could cover him next
Probably
week.
not.
He doesn't have to. He doesn't do tweet.
Patreon.com/TCGS.
Are you genuinely mad with
No,
him?
of course not. But
Really,
also
are
we
you?
are going to cover next week. It doesn't matter. Let's just get on with it.
Let's just end this one way or the other. Right, thanks very much for listening, everyone. James, thanks for sticking with us.
I was only deleting the ones that were like ridiculous open-ended questions that will take another 15 minutes to answer.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's just funny.
Dave, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. It's been really good to have you back on.
Thanks for having
That's
me.
okay. I don't know where I was going with that. Brain sort of half formed a joke and then it didn't work, and then I just didn't say any of it.
No. Yeah, thanks for having me. And hopefully I get to speak to you all
Is there
again
anything you want
soon.
to plug, David?
No.
Okay.
Wicked.
Patreon, give us money.
Right, come on, Sean. This is where you end the show.
Oh, come on, you're the host now, mate. You're the host.
Yeah, sorry. I think I'm in the same way as James now. I'm just absolutely
so
gone.
patreon.com/TCGS. It's live now.
Wow.
Please support us if you've ever loved anything we've ever done. And
Or
that's
if you
it.
plan to in the future.
Yeah, if you plan to
Either way.
watch stuff we've done, please support us on Patreon. It's live now.
Yeah, I mean, the video we put up, as I say, some technical issues, but it was a lot of fun to do it, and I'm really excited about doing more of them, and interested to see what people want from the Patreon only show. It's exciting times. I'm really looking forward to seeing how it goes.
Cool. We've got loads of streamers this week. Sean's stream tonight. We're streaming the Patreon Q&A, and TCGS talks over at State of Play on Thursday, and all sorts of stuff. So just check us out on Twitch and all the usual places.
You literally don't need to be without us ever. now. That's
Apart from
how it
Saturday night.
works.
Saturday night's going to be pretty low for a lot of people, but
that's
apart from
true.
that, you're all good.
Yeah. Right, cool. Thanks very much, everyone. Cheerio, and thank you for letting us be natural. Good night.
Good night.
One more question, James. Go on. Just read one more question out. Holy shit. Is that nearly 3 hours?